Hello, 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 everybody. What's going on? Welcome to Lost Initiative Show, Episode 0, as some people have noticed, titled, quote-unquote, The Pilot. Double entendre there. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's sad?
You didn't get that?
I didn't get
I
that.
didn't think so. Okay.
I'm good at, like, I'm corny. Okay, corny is me. Yeah.
Listen, it's good. I like it. I like the name.
Me too. You know.
Thank you, A2DK, 9 months in a row for the sub. What's going on, everybody? This is, Scott's background is great, right? It's good. It's actually hard to... Did you get rid of the thing? I can't even tell.
Yeah, no, it's, you cut. That's what I was trying to ask you, but you can't hear me. Exactly. I was trying to ask you, but you can't hear me. Yeah.
I framed it.
So.
Yeah, what's going on? You like it where it's just you, me, and 3 blank spaces because we don't have a Star Wars themed duo.
We don't have a 2-person overlay? I thought we've done 2-person overlay chats before.
You know what? We could do, actually... Yeah, this is on the... It doesn't matter. It's on the fly. But what I could do instead is like...
Yeah, come on.
Well, there were just no frames in the other one. It was just our cameras together next to each other. That was...
But in for Lost Initiative Star Wars, right?
Yes, the Star Wars themed background, but no frames or anything. So we could do it like this, and then I can drag up our respective...
How long is it going to take for you to fiddle with that?
Not long. I'm almost done.
All right. Yeah, see, I would do that and then just like cut out a chunk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you just put it behind, you know.
So
and
I'm gonna do.
So you do like one over the other one. You cut out a chunk and you and you boop and you go. Bing. But like even that looks a lot better. Like
thank you
that
for your
looks so
sound
much better.
effects, by the way. I appreciate that. Like right about here is about even.
So I went upstairs before we went live when I disappeared for a little bit. Not camera disappeared, but physically disappeared. I was trying because I have my leather jacket, you know, because of the character.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if I had like a white long sleeve tunic. Because like, do you remember like back in the day, I used to like go to King Richard's Fair all the time and dress up for it. So like I have like a loose tunic that's like open chested and whatnot. And I was like, this would totally work. I haven't worn that thing in. So I couldn't find it, and I'm like, do I have to like go buy for some semi cosplay action?
Semi cosplay,
like you know.
Do you really want to compete with Maggie? Is the thing?
Compete with Maggie? No. It's to enhance, like, you know, and
right, enhance.
Yeah, to like work together with Maggie to like to elevate Maggie. You know, it's like make her get in character.
I do wonder how she's gonna cosplay a murder droid.
If she does, you know what I mean? She might not.
Yeah, that's true.
Usually for like the beginning of a campaign, she feels some hype and she jumps on the cosplay train. But,
right.
You know, she's actually the reason why I start semi doing it is because I was like, oh, Maggie's always so into it. I gotta like, not be the schlub.
Let me cosplay the Emperor real quick. Okay, I'm ready.
I actually have an Emperor cloak over there.
You
have what?
I have a Jedi one, yeah.
Yeah, because you're a loser.
Well, I did that for Judge Mathis.
I Crichton. That's you know.
I'm a good guy at heart.
Listen, I played KOTOR. I never had money problems. So you know what I mean? I never had I would be like, oh hey, listen, I kill everybody and take all their money. I'm winning the game and it's easy. Like,
but you're getting the bad ending.
Is it really though?
I mean, depends on what you're into, I guess.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, who cares if I like being, chained up and whipped? That's are you faulting me?
Yeah, call me Dorth Muthis. There you go. Good Frank. Appreciate it.
Dorth.
Dorth.
Thank you, Alyssa.
All right, come on, chat. If I was gonna be a Darth and Scott was gonna be a Darth, what would our respective Darth names be?
I mean, Darth Dalric. Yeah, I get the alliteration going on. Like, when in trouble, you call. Oh no, it's DW. Never mind.
Like Darth Maul, you can see how he got it that name. Vader, it was just random. Doesn't make any sense. Even though Lucas...
Vader literally means father in German.
But did he know that? Because he didn't know that.
Does he know that? No, but it's supposed to be like one of those, look at this, we're doing a fun twist on words. like the whole idea of, if you play the Mass Effect series, Cerberus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the keeper of the gates of hell. The whole idea being like, everything beyond the mass relay is hell. And so this is the keeper of the gate. So, you know, like there's always namology, because you have to remember like Pluto was the planet, and all the moons around Pluto are named after things to do with like more or less the Greek underworld. So the fact that it was named Cerberus is, because remember that Sharon relay, Sharon,
so much lore.
Yeah, I mean, so it's normal that you would do this.
Yeah. So behind Scott and his green screen is his end goal, a ship with that much extra space.
Excuse me. I just gotta play a game of whatever it's called.
Hollow chess.
Yeah, hollow chess.
First
sure.
of all, what is that supposed to be? That's not the Millennium Falcon. So what is that?
I have no idea, but it looks great.
No, it does look awesome. I'm just curious
Right?
what inside of the ship that's supposed to be, because I saw I was
Oh
like,
no, wait. Do you hear my engines? I know I'm in the middle of hyperspace, right?
it's quiet in hyperspace.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Honestly, I'm looking at it because like it's almost the Millennium Falcon, but also not really. I wonder if it's like of that series of ships, probably.
Well, I wanted to go with one that felt like the Millennium Falcon because because Twitter has answered with like almost 200 votes, and I'm a Corellian human, so I'm no longer the Celestin.
Yeah.
I'm a Corellian human, and because of that, I was like, having a Corellian looking ship in the background, I thought that would be fun,
Corellian ship, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maggie, for the host.
Hey, what's up, Maggie? Are you here? I even see you say hi.
I just see it says she hosted us. I don't know if she's actually in here. I assume she would be, but could be incorrect. Scott's background is constantly at hyperspeed. That's true.
That's why I never age. That's why I've looked the same since I was like 18.
Yep, there she is. Maggie, what up?
Maggie!
Okay, before we get going, and we'll kind of dive into it, a couple of, I don't want to say announcements, but a couple things to bear in mind while we kind of spool things up and get going here. One, it's been a while since we've played with this rule set. We made some characters, but that's about it. We have some general memories of how the rule set works, but expect there to be like, hang on, let me look that up. Hang on, let me look that up. Does it work like this? Or does it work like this? And it's why it's in episode 0 and not in episode 1. Kind of just refreshing our memory as to how that works. Second, and there will be a video that goes up on my YouTube channel as well. From here on out, we're going to be uploading VODs on a Lost Initiative channel directly. Like, there's going to be a Lost Initiative YouTube channel specifically for the VODs and whatever we end up doing for the channel. That helps alleviate my workload, and Scott can help out on that, and he doesn't need access to my YouTube channel and stuff. So that's going to be...
It takes a lot of work off of poor Mike here.
So we're just going to... We'll be shifting that off starting with this episode. So when I'll be... After this is done, either tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to relink this Twitch channel up with the YouTube channel so we can always direct VOD port if we ever want to or need to, and take care of that. Maggie's like, I don't know how to cosplay my character exactly. How do you robot? Other than that, this will be like a 1 to 2 hour, probably a little prologue thing. It's more of a setup where his character is and how he ends up on the same planet or place with the other characters and how they end up meeting. And we will be doing another episode 0 next week with Maggie's robot, so that'll be fun. And we'll kind of tackle that and where she is and where she ends up and all that good stuff. All these episode 0s, prequel things are really a good refresher course for all of us as far as rules are concerned as well. So
yeah, I just like doing them too. It's just fun.
Well, yeah, lore, fun is story bit of lore and the like. And then once episode 1 kicks in, I'll do like a proper scrolling prologue of like, here's where we're at and here's where the galaxy's at. But we'll do a proper one. Is that what you named your droid, Maggie? Did you name it Grom? GR0MB17? Because the rest of the cast has not officially been revealed yet. We're working on it, I promise. No?
Yep. Cool. I mean, Rick, the cardboard and tinfoil that I threw together literally was one of those. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to cosplay. And it was like 45 minutes before we went live on Roll For It. And I totally grabbed like tape and staple gun and stuff like that. And, like went crazy with it and grabbed like wires and grabbed like literally like coax cable and like stripped it away and peeled it apart and threw it on there and grabbed like crayons and melted red crayons on top to make it like blood splatter. And I was like 45 minutes of very fast. And I like put my like headpiece on. It was like stabbing into my head and I had my growing purple paint on me because my flawed character. That was literally, I was like, this is awful. I love it.
That's the way to go, dude. Okay, let's start by doing what we're supposed to do at the beginning of every Star Wars session. We need to roll Force. You're the only one rolling the Force dice, though. I don't get to roll any. So you get to determine who starts with...
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, so first I have to roll this one to see how much we get of what.
Let me make sure I have the pool cleared.
You know how to do that?
Okay. I've cleared the pool.
All right, I'll press it right now.
Yeah, go for it.
1 Force die. And except
I have difficulty die in there, but it doesn't matter. We got
smooth.
So right. Sweet, I get a dark side point to play with.
So it starts off with you having a dark side point. Yay!
That's a really good start for everybody here. I'm very excited about that. Yeah, so that, for those who don't remember, basically the way the system works, every session starts with dark side or light side points, usually a mix of both. And all players can tap into light side points, and the GM gets to play with the dark side points to make things more difficult, or to make it more difficult on the players. And the players can either make it easier for them or make it more difficult for the GM to do whatever he's trying to do. It's a nice little balancing act to represent how the Force is always flowing through a campaign, even if you have no Force users. It's your heroes. This is your destiny to do whatever it is, or heroic type characters, or more, you have more influence on the world as a whole. All right.
Before you jump into the story bits, just because of the fact that my character did change race, that did alter some aspects of them. So just very quickly, because I went from Celestin to Corellian human, I actually was able to keep my actual attributes the same. So it's still 2 for everything except for agility 4 and intellect 3. My astrogation went down a little bit, but that's okay because of a Corellian human. My piloting space actually was able to go up to 3, which is like bigger than you're typically allowed to do a character creation. Corellian humans are the one race that has that like adjustment. So I'm like taking advantage of it, piloting 3. Yes.
Yep.
But my skills are almost all exactly the same, and I worked through the math at Mathis to make sure that it all makes sense. And then over for my actual, what are they called, talents, I had to lose my 1 free skill jockey I got from being Celestin, and I had to lose one of my galaxy mappers. So I'm only removing 1 black die from astrogation, and I only have 1 yellow die in astrogation. So that's all a little bit weaker. So something to kind of like bear in mind is that my astrogation is not as amazing as it was, but my piloting is like incredible.
Right.
So, you can imagine my character's backstory switched a little bit from like, I can work with any astrogation computer to get it done to, I get a little bit of assistance from the astromech droid or like a good computer, but like I'm a damn good pilot. So just kind of something to keep in mind. Mike, just so you are aware, because I don't know if you saw this before, if you actually have my character sheet open, you over on the skills tab, I did apply the automatic modifier to remove black die on my astrogation skill because of my 1 galaxy mapper. Sure. That is a cool thing you can do in these character sheets. So if you do throw black die on there and you don't notice it when I roll, it's because I applied the correct.
Yep. That works for me.
And I tested it before we went live. Okay?
I'm just looking for a page that I want to give you because I meant to give hey, save this page, you're going to need it. But now I got to find it. So we'll might as well work on that. While I pop open that page, I ripped something off of another show because it makes combat easier, or at least a little bit more clear. Because the thing with Star Wars is it's very much a narrative-driven rule system. It's all about theater of the mind and role-playing and social encounters, and the way combat works is a little bit more loose, and there's no grid system. It's just about ranges and kind of what the GM says your range is from an enemy. So the way I'm going to do that is take this here, and that's how it's going to work. You're going to see this. Move that off to the side. There you go. You're going to see that for combat, and it kind of will dictate what range they're in. Everybody asking where Maggie is, because I've seen a few people ask. Maggie's episode 0 will be next week. We're going to be doing prequel episodes to kind of dictate where the characters are and how they end up where they are. And then episode 1 will be properly announced before long. Where the heck? There it is. Of course, it's like when I open up to a random page, it gets to the chapter that I want. So basically, it takes 1 maneuver for a player to move within different ranges. So you can kind of just straight up move. Like if Scott wants to go from long to medium range, that's his maneuver, from long to medium. And then he can make his shots from there. And each range is difficulty. So if he's medium range from an enemy and his gun is medium range, it's a 2 purple die type thing. Short is 1 purple die on average. Long is 3. Extreme is 4. What could go wrong with Star Wars prequels? That's a very good question. Nothing. Nothing can go wrong.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Oh my god, that is 2 jokes that I just went completely over my head today. I am starting off bad, man.
Yeah, you're having a rough morning.
Oh my god, that is funny. Oh, that is so funny. Oh, sorry, I laughed a bit too hard there. That was good.
Scott, I just want you to hold open or bookmark page 257 for me. You will need that page.
All right. What is it? 257?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
a campaign where you actually play the prequel movies as the prequel characters. Listen, it's super easy to improve that 10 times. You make Darth Maul the villain of all 3 movies. Period. And you make him the threat. Like, he never dies or any of that stuff. He's always persistent through all 3.
Okay, so Kyle Doyne is his name. Doyne.
Yeah. Dwayne. I say Dwayne. I would say Dwayne.
Yeah, it's Dwayne.
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 Cool. Now you hold them ransom. I'll be the threat, Ollie? Alright, that's fine. You can be the threat.
Hey, Ollie. Hey-o.
Sorry, I'm just making sure I have a few things ready. Also, it'll be my first time, I think, DMing a solo session, so this will be really weird.
Yeah, but you know, I've got a big personality.
So at least one of parts of you is big.
I got a big beard.
Yeah, that's true.
I have large hands.
You've been able to hold like a beard since you were 16.
Goatee back then, but yeah.
Yeah.
I literally grew, aside from like one time where I like kind of let it grow in for like 2 weeks or whatever when I was young. I grew it in. I specifically know when. It was right after I turned 21, because I got promoted 2.5 months after I turned 21. I was training at the Dartmouth store, and for the first time ever, like the kitchen manager there, the way that he cropped his beard, I was like, that looks fucking sexy. And I was like, I've never seen a beard cropped like that beforehand. I love it. It looks great. I want to do that. And because I was in the kitchen, so it didn't matter that I was growing it out while I was there. Right. I totally was just like schlubbing it. I grew it out, and I was like, it looks great. And I've literally shaved it once since then. So, well, technically there was a.
Have you shaved it?
So technically, when I was still with Ruby Tuesday, they forced me to shave it for a 3-month period before I left them. Okay. Which was awful. So I technically didn't have it for 3 months. Like a few years later, I grew it back. And then once ever I shaved it as like a joke for Britt before we even got engaged. And we've been married for over 5 years. We're engaged for over 2 years. So that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And she was not happy about that. And I would only ever shave it again if we did like if like Lost Initiative or whatever, we did like a charity stream. And that was like one of the tiers of a charity stream. Was
yeah.
If we raised so much, I would take it off because, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's like, you know, it's.
I hear you. I actually remember the phase you went through where you shaved your beard and your head. Like you were just completely.
Well, I had a goatee and I bicked my head.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that completely bald phase of your hair. That was that was a while. You actually kept that I remember.
And before that, I was ponytail and goatee.
I remember the ponytail. I met you towards like the last couple of years of your ponytail. I do remember that. Okay. Anyway, we're sidetracking for no good reason.
Yeah,
all right.
No good reason.
Let me get rid of this. All right. So let's start. So for a quick background, again, we'll have a more detailed description when we do episode 1 as to where we are within the Star Wars timeline. This is taking place approximately a decade after the end of episode 6. In that, the Empire itself has fallen. The legend of Luke Skywalker has spread far and wide throughout the galaxy, and he, at this point in time, still, I believe, has his little Jedi temple. People know that the Force exists and the knowledge of Jedi and the Force and all that stuff, while still probably pretty mysterious and mystical in other further regions within the galaxy, is something that people do know and have acknowledged. The fact that the Empire has collapsed has left a lot of infighting within the core worlds. There's the rise of the New Republic, which is also currently dealing with the vacuum of power that the Empire left, and the Empire, the remnants of the Empire, fighting within themselves, desperately trying to find a new leader, somebody to take the place of the Emperor and Darth Vader, now that they've both died, for better or worse. There are still planets within the Empire's control, there are planets within the New Republic's control, and the New Republic is spreading as time goes on, and these power vacuums kind of exist. However, our story doesn't take place within the core worlds, so that's just a general overview of what's happening within the core worlds. Our story more takes place within the Outer Rim. Now, the Outer Rim, when the Empire was in control, was still a sketchy place, right? There were still criminals crawling everywhere, but the Empire still had a presence there. They still had stormtroopers stationed in more popular spaceports on more business-oriented planets like Tatooine, for instance. Though their presence wasn't as heavy as it would be in a core world, the fact that there was even Empire presence in the Outer Rim dictated that business may have not have been as free as it once was before the Empire kind of came into existence. Now that the Empire has gone and the Empire is more or less trying to consolidate the power, stormtroopers and the Empire's presence within the Outer Rim is all but gone. There may be a few pockets here and there where maybe a few rogue commanders have decided to take matters in their own hands, but those are few and far between and likely don't pose much of a threat to most people. But that means the crime lords are attempting to reestablish their dominance, grab the territories that the Empire once controlled, and take back what was once theirs, or what they deemed as theirs. Which means business is very, very good in this particular point in time for a lot of mercenaries, or guns for hire, or ships for hire, and drug running, gun running, slave trade, if you deal within that, is very... is very prosperous in this particular point in time. And that's kind of where where our main character here, or the character we're focusing on now, Kyle, is, that's your, right, Kyle, yeah, you stuck with Kyle, is been for the past 10 years. Scott, if you want to talk about what your character has been doing for 10 years in the Outer Rim, and kind of, lightly touch on what he was doing before, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so just as a reminder, like, my character had no allegiance whatsoever to the Empire. He was not for what they were for or anything. It's just simply Corellian humans tend to be good pilots because of the way that they're brought up, and he happened to be a particularly good one, which is why, let's be honest here, I'm rolling 3 yellows and a green. Like, I'm a particularly good pilot. And so when I was younger, I needed a job. And so I did work. And unfortunately, it didn't matter what business, even if and I imagine my character just because it's not like he would have made a political stance, but he knew what they were about at this, because it's the tail end of the Empire. He knew what they were about. He wasn't an idiot. So he would try to work for a mom and pop shipping agency, but they would be bought out or closed down. So eventually he would just kind of have to, I work for the Empire. And so when they finally collapsed, and he was like, whew, it's a good thing I don't have to wear that uniform anymore. I mean, it was not really the greatest. He just kind of did jobs shipping here and there, usually kind of sticking around to the systems that he knew best, until at one point in time, he literally would have just finished a job. This would have been, a few years later. He would have just finished a job and gone into a cantina near his home world, on his home world, whatever. And he didn't have to be from Corellia. He could have been from a planet nearby that Corellian humans just typically inhabit.
Before you say what I think you're going to say, you haven't seen that thing on the wall yet.
My apologies.
No, that's fine. Can continue. I want to make that.
So I would have just been kind of going around and doing just various jobs or whatever the case may be. So I'm just literally, it's I'm just trying to make a living. I'm just trying to get by and do what I got to do. So that's it. Just making a living.
And like I said,
I don't ask questions if I get hired because my character's not stupid. He worked for the Empire before. He's not stupid.
Right.
Hey, we're looking for a pilot. Oh, what are you flying? We're flying this. I can handle that.
Right.
You have any questions? How much you paying me? Any other questions? If it takes extra time, you're going to pay me more?
Yeah.
No other questions? Is there other questions I should ask? That sort of, it could be screaming people inside cells. If I can't hear them, I got no problems. You know what I mean?
You're in it. Dollar first is all, and that's why the Outer Rim, for instance, for the past probably close to 10 years, maybe dabbling back into the core worlds occasionally, has been so good for you, because business is better than it's ever been in probably well over 20 to 30 years on the Outer Rim, with these crime lords desperately clamoring for territory. They're always trying to do something with one up one another, subvert another one, and that usually involves taking something in a crate or in a soundproof cell from one planet to the next, or hiring guns to take care of something on another planet far away. So business has been rather good, and you've been making a good living for a while. Though recently, for whatever reason, maybe you've just spent the credits for self-pleasure. You've been a little bit bereft of coin for one reason or another. However, our story specifically tonight starts as the camera pans down to a Corellian Corvette coming right out of hyperspace into the hut system. You hear the snap of the ship pop out, and as you get a good camera view of this ship, this is no new Corellian Corvette. This thing has been modified, beat up, used for years, probably has seen combat at some point, multiple times over the past decade or so, not even talking about maybe when it was used within the war against the Empire, within the rebellion. But this thing has things painted on it, a few symbols that are unrecognizable to common eye. Scott, actually, could you please make me a streetwise check at a 2 difficulty to know the symbols that are painted actually on the side of this thing that you would have seen boarding it? Let me give
you set the difficulty.
Yep, I put 2 die on it for it.
Okay, cool.
Give me a streetwise check.
All right, streetwise.
Oh, there it is. Success.
First roll's a success.
So for you, when you climb onto this thing, again, it's nothing out of the ordinary for you, but when you took note of a couple of symbols seem to have been painted over or adapted, but one stands prominent right now, and it's the symbols of the Blue Suns. The Blue Suns are a relatively well-known to those who work within the industry of, why do you make that face?
Blue Sun's the name of one of the 3 largest criminal organizations that exist in the Mass Effect universe. It was actually started by humans. And
that's where I must have gotten that name. Forward. That has to be where I got that name.
I was like literally my Wednesday morning 9 a.m. campaign.
Really?
They've been working for the Blue Sun since like session 1.
You know what? We'll call it the 2. We're gonna call it the 2 Suns. There we go. Done. The 2 Suns. I knew that. I was like, that name. I got it from somewhere. I think it's from Star Wars. Incorrect. It's from Mass Effect. Ollie says, "Excuse me, I've had a lot of drama with the Blue Suns. Sorry to give you flashbacks." The 2 Suns. And while it's spelt 2 TW, or how you understand it's 2 Suns, and it's spelled SUNS. It's pretty common knowledge for those who work within the crime rings. The reason they also call it that is because it is run by 2 twin brothers who have over the past 10 to 15 years made quite a name for themselves on the Outer Rim, because they'll just do anything, or they'll work with. They're kind of like a crime group for hire, if that makes sense. You know those our friend Dave worked for those hiring groups for a long time. Mm-hmm. They're like that for crime people. They bring in people to hire them. They'll take a little bit of the profit.
Wait, hold on, wait a second. A criminal temp agency.
Kind of. They kind of like work as in between people.
I wonder if there's like a hiring survey that you have to fill out. Like, so what exactly are you comfortable with for kind of work? What are your special skills? What do you bring to the table? What was it? Je ne sais quoi? Or how do you pronounce that?
Je ne sais quoi?
Je ne sais quoi? You know?
Exactly, Koya. They contract people. It gives you. There's a little bit of less of a liability off of the people who go through them. Basically, the way it works is like, Scott, if you work through them, you're maybe not making as much money as you normally would, but at the same time, the liability is a little bit more off of your shoulders than if you were working directly for whoever hires them, kind of thing. Regardless, you boarded this ship not because you're working for them, but because they provided passage to an area you're looking for. So this ship, like I said, kind of snaps out of hyperspace, and you can hear kind of the engines roaring as it moves towards Nal Hutta and Nar Shaddaa. Specifically, the moon of Nar Shaddaa is where we're heading.
I imagine my character's never been to Nal Hutta.
Probably not. Right, Nar Shaddaa is more your speed. So Nar Shaddaa, for those who don't know, is the criminal moon around Nal Hutta. It's often referred to as Little Corellia, or rather, not Corellia, the city one. I apologize. I can't remember the name of the planet now. It's gone out of my mind.
Well, Nar Shaddaa is the de facto home world of the Hutts, because that's not their original home world; it's their now home world.
Yes, correct.
So I imagine, like I said, going on their actual planet, I'm like,
no, but the moon itself is actually literally called Little Coruscant. Little Coruscant. That is correct.
Yep.
And we'll kind of talk about the description of the planet when we get there. However, the kind of camera pans to a bunk that is in this rather large room filled with different types of creatures, from humans to Deveronians to Celestins to even Bothans. And we see Scott's character, which we'll get to, sleeping on a bottom bunk with an arm from the top bunk hanging down, obscuring the clear view of him a little bit, of another human sleeping right above him. In the middle of the room, there are countless tables and chairs, some on their side, some tables with just trash littered on them. One table in particular has a Deveronian and a human playing sabacc. drinking quite a bit, or it looks like they've drank at least quite a bit of some sort of alcohol or drink. And the human himself is being loud and obnoxious. But you've been on this ship for probably a good week at this point. And you're used to sleeping through this, and it smells abhorrent. It's a mix of body odor, alcohol, and there's a bathroom, but God, it smells like shit in this room more often than not for one reason or another. But passage on this ship was very, very, very cheap, and you are rather low on credits, and it was getting you to where you needed to go, and it didn't matter so much. So as the noise of those two kind of shouting at each other, playing sabacc, snoring from other bunks, and that nasty smell and look, the camera zooms onto your character. What does Kyle look like while he slumbers in this bunk? What is your character's description?
Well, he might drool a little. No. So Kyle stands at semi-average height. I'm actually going to be 5'11". Since it's my actual height, it's a perspective height now. So he's going to be 5'11". He has darker brown hair. He keeps it a bit longer and loose, kind of between that phase of, do I want to grow it back out again, or do I want to keep it shorter? Not entirely sure, but it's a little bit unkept. He is relatively clean shaven, meaning that he does actually shave his face, but he always goes several days between each time he does it. So he always goes between scruff and clean. He is of average build, he's too bronze, so he's of average build. He has kind of piercing blue eyes, ones that you would totally notice from across the room. And he does have kind of a stronger brow. So it's probably one of his more prominent features is, it's one of those things where when he's in a good mood, he looks but when he's aggravated, you can tell because his furrowed brow really seems to exaggerate when he's "Arr." And otherwise he does dress like a typical Corellian human, very loose and comfortable clothes. If the weather's lighter, he'll go between a multi-purposeful vest that he'll wear. If it's a bit colder, he'll totally throw on the leather jacket or whatever. And he's just kind of passed out because he's never really learned gun safety. Not really comfortable with them. I imagine his holdout blaster or whatever it is literally kind of on the floor next to his bed. He kind of had it with him when he went to bed because he knows you're supposed to. He was told that before, but probably flopped on the floor in the middle of the night again.
Don't tempt me to try and steal it right out the gate. It goes missing.
I mean, again, it's one of those things where I imagine he kind of wakes up and kind of feels around and pats under his pillow and doesn't find it and picks it on the floor and kind of picks it up by the the ring around the trigger and it's kind of throws it onto the bed.
Good times. You're very, very, you're all about that gun safety. Perfect. Great.
He's not the most cunning person.
How many credits do you have left specifically?
Actually, 125 credits. I'm not super po.
You've got some pocket change. You can get around if you need to.
Yeah.
So the reason,
unless because it's the prequel, do I have less than that?
Well, we're about to find out. So the reason you're actually heading to Nar Shaddaa, Scott, and the reason Kyle is on his way to Nar Shaddaa, rather, is because you've done a ton of work within the Hutt regions of space. It's no mystery that the Hutts have a rather, though there's fighting amongst crime lords, most of the crime lords are Hutts, and most of them are working against one another. But Nar Shaddaa is always a place you can get a job. And through the 10 years of you doing these jobs, you actually have a contact on Nar Shaddaa that will reach out to you every so often. And by every so often, I mean maybe 4 times a year with a pretty lucrative job that is relatively simple for how much he's offering you. And that particular person's name is Zalt Nook. Z-A-L-T.
I'm just trying to remember where my notes are.
No problem.
Morality, duty, obligations, motivations. I suppose duty? He's saying duty.
I mean, you can throw wherever you want.
So, I'm just duty, job. I'll figure out a better spot later on. What's his name again?
Zalt, Z-A-L-T.
Yep.
Nook, N-U-Q.
Oh, that's not how I would have spelled that. Okay.
And he is a Deveronian.
Yep.
And he, like I said, he's worked, yeah, exactly, devil people. And he's worked with you plenty of times in the past, and a little while ago, he contacted you through the HoloNet and said he had a job for you and to meet him on Nar Shaddaa. When you could get there, it wasn't a huge rush, and that when you do meet him at the bar that you guys always meet at, which we'll give a name to once we kind of get there scenically. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're on your way to Nar Shaddaa. However, you're still snoozing away on this bunk, and you quickly wake up with a boot to your side as somebody kicks you kicking you out of that snoring. You gotta let that drool quickly wipe away the drool. And standing there is the man who hired you or offered you passage on the ship, a human by the name of Dave.
Dave!
Dave sits there, or stands there rather, with some rather ripped up cargo looking like pants, a t-shirt in all black, and a leather jacket in black as well, with the insignia of the two suns plastered right on the front. No issues whatsoever.
My jacket's brown leather.
That's fine, but this guy's is black. Just saying.
Okay.
He stands over with his arms crossed, waiting for you to kind of like see him, and I assume you do and acknowledge.
I mean, so as they're kind of sitting up, like, oh, it's such a pleasant wake-up call. Imagine you made breakfast.
He doesn't actually give you any facial expressions to that. Just kind of lifts his lip. He's like, "You paid me half up front. You pay me the half now. You're at Nar Shaddaa." And he kind of just waves forward. Now, the toll on this thing was 20 credits. 10 up front you gave him. He's looking for the 10 now.
Did we land?
No, we're in orbit.
Yeah, I kind of like look around at the bucket of rust and whatnot, and I say, I think I'll hold on to my credits until I know that we can land.
He looks pissed. He does not take that answer rather lightly. And he gestures like, "If you think this thing's gonna explode, ain't no harm in giving me the 10 credits now, because none of us are gonna be able to use it in the first place if we die."
You know, I still feel the same way. As I stand up and kind of like, find my blaster, hold out blaster, pick it up off the floor, like throw it into the holster and whatnot, and just kind of like check myself to make sure it's like, okay, socks, shoes, pants, belt, keys, wallet, key card, cell, search, yeah. Like go through the list. Yeah. So as soon as we hit dock, and I'll kind of like go to walk past him.
He
like it ain't no thing.
He doesn't move, so if you're gonna go walk past him, you're very much gonna have to push past him.
It'd be one of those awkward, like, kind of walk up. Like, oh,
let me give you a better description of this guy's build. By the way, you're how tall again? 5 what?
5'11".
5'11". So he's barely taller than you. He's 6. He's like a 6 even. So he's like an inch. But you're not as well built as this man. This man. I'm not saying he's like a freaking bodybuilder. He's got a tiny little gut, but he's one of those. He's like our friend Nick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's got broad shoulders. He's got muscles. The guy could pick you up and throw you if he so chooses. Yep. He never walks around with a gun in his holster. He much prefers knives, many different kinds of knives. And the type of knife he's carrying around that particular day can change halfway through. Maybe it's just a vibro knife. Maybe it's a Corellian like skinning dagger. Like it could change on what he's having. Right now, he's got himself his favorite pair of dual Corellian skinning daggers, kind of hoisted in his upper half. But if you go to push by him, he doesn't purposefully step in your way, but he also does not move out of your way.
I'll totally roll a coordination check just to kind of like
scoot by.
Yeah, scoot by.
Yeah, you're not completely blocked in, so that'll be a difficulty of 1, really easy to skip by. So feel free, go right ahead. Why did
technically you were still there.
Yeah, because I had to click down 1 and then click off of it for it to register. I didn't realize.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's a thing.
This is why episode 0. Go right ahead.
Yep.
Re-roll that. Oh yeah, you did. Perfect. So yeah, you go to move past him, and he's very much purposefully not moving, assuming you're gonna bump into him. But you are scrawny enough where you can kind of suck in your stomach just a bit, kind of have to go up on your tippy toes just a bit, and you can scooch around him relatively smoothly. As you walk around, you hear, and just like a spit, as you hear his footsteps moving towards what you assume are some of the other bunk members through there.
Am I the person actually landing the ship?
No, not at all. You were not piloting, nothing. You were just a passenger on the ship.
Can I go to like wherever the common room is and see if there's some sort of substance that will pass as coffee?
Yes, there is a I don't want to say a cantina of sorts, but like a dining area, a mess hall. There's probably a better option. And there is absolutely what they call coffee there. And you drank it once, and you absolutely despised it. Because if that's coffee, you don't want to know what they're making it out of, because it's nothing you're used to by any stretch. As you make your way into the mess hall, kind of walking through the bare, empty, for the most part, hallways of this dingy, rundown thing. And you're a pilot. You've piloted plenty of times. Walking through these hallways and seeing wires hanging out of loose metal panels, rust eating out some of the other areas of the wall, it stresses you out just on an inner, like, how can they do this to such a ship? This thing is probably has so much history behind it. They just let it rot. There's like clearly someone took a knife, maybe probably a vibro knife, and like carved in their name to a particular panel. As you walk into the mess hall, it's like on the door as the door opens up and you walk in. There's maybe a handful of men and women, of mostly humans, drinking, eating. One passed out in the corner, probably drunk, sitting there. And in the mess hall itself, there's like a table that has food sometimes and drink most of the time. And this time it has just drink, and it has one little area, one little like dispenser that is typically quote unquote coffee, and a bunch of other alcohols that are half empty, and you'd probably catch something if you put your lips on the bottle.
Awesome. Does the thing function? Will it actually fill a cup?
Yes, it works.
Awesome.
Sometimes you gotta kind of hit it a couple times, but
That's what I was thinking. You know what? I imagine it drips like very slowly into the cup. In which case, if nobody's looking or around, I'm gonna put like a dash of something a little bit stiffer inside there, just to wake up. Because oh man,
absolutely.
I
Do
might
you
get
look for
stabbed
anything?
today.
Are you just gonna grab one of the bottles at random?
It's one of these things where I'm gonna kind of like look behind me, and if I see nobody's around, I'm just gonna literally grab a bottle and like.
So you rando the bottle.
Yeah, and to totally not look at what I'm putting in there.
That's fine. You don't want to know. You put it in. Coffee fills up the cup.
I'm Rando Corellian.
Yep.
So
Nope, no problem. And you've got yourself a nice stiff cup of coffee. Now you're not entirely sure when you take your first sip if the alcohol improved or worsened the taste of this coffee, but it's. You desperately want to drink it, so you force yourself to drink it.
it's one of those that's like.
Yep.
I do have a good mug.
And yeah, you're gonna go ahead, go grab that mug. It's half filled with vinegar. Yeah, he grabbed vinegar.
There we go. I got my mug. Just gotta take my. It's all good.
You got something?
Don't mind me. I'm just.
You drink out of the Boba Fett mug. Listen, we're not that meta. That doesn't exist in the Star Wars universe. Well, it'll be a Mandalorian helmet mug, but still, that's not a big deal. So, there's windows here. You can see outside, and you can see from the side that you are indeed orbiting Nar Shaddaa, which is the moon, and you assume it'll probably be about a little while before they get landing clearance and they make their way in. Is there anything you want to do here? I assume for the most part, Kyle probably avoided most of these people, didn't really make friends with them. Yeah. Didn't play games. Didn't gamble.
It's one of those things. So everybody was it predominantly human or were the non-humans?
It was predominantly human, but there are non-humans. Some Deveronians, like I said, a couple of Bothans.
Yeah. So honestly, I probably would spend a little bit of time chatting with, because I don't know, Deveronians, I feel like they kind of give me the willies. You know what I mean? Like they're devil people. So I imagine they give me the willies. Like I'm cordial with them, but like it's one of those, like, I don't know, they always just kind of like freak me out a little. Mm-hmm. But the Bothans, I would totally be friendly with the Bothans. If they're willing to even play a game of whatever, or chat, I'd chat with Bothans.
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple. There's like two Bothans on the ship. They don't know one another. They're not family or anything. One is more approachable than the other one. It's the male. There's a female as well. The female is rather. You're pretty sure she could probably take out some of the people on the ship if she so choose. She's very reclusive and has more weapons than she should. At least you feel a lot less safe around her. But she keeps to herself for the most part. But the male, he's very well spoken. He's not super well dressed, but he knows a few extra languages. He plays a few card games with you over the course of the trip. But is there anything you just friendly chat with this guy? Really don't really dig into too much of like his past or anything?
Exactly that. Like I would maintain friendly chat, exchange of names. But like it's one of those, aside from like playing card games and like, oh, hey, where'd you learn this? Or, stuff like that. I don't really go too much into details because these are throwaway faces.
Yeah, of course.
So,
well, if you want to write his name down, you do get his name. His name is Rust. He calls himself Rust at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
and he's very friendly. Doesn't really, and he's very similar with you, where he's clearly you're a great conversation. You're great to pass the time with, but it's always just kind of surface level talk. Never really anything more than that.
Does she seem to be like traveling with him, or they just happen to both be Bothans on a vessel?
They seem to happen to just both be Bothans on the same vessel.
Okay, then I won't even make note of her. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. So, as you know, we see you kind of probably chatting with him when the camera pans out of the window, and you see the Corellian cruiser moving on in and kind of puttering its way, roaring its way, maybe is better description, into Nar Shaddaa. Nar Shaddaa is a disgusting planet. Now, back in the day, there are legends this moon looked a lot like Nar Shaddaa before the Hutts moved in. And it was a gorgeous planet with blue oceans and gorgeous forests, and nature really, truly ruled it. But over the centuries of the Hutts kind of omening Nar Shaddaa and Nar Shaddaa, countless cities cropped up. Pollution ran rampant, and because the Hutts are mostly known for crime became the central piece of Nar Shaddaa. As the ship roars into Nar Shaddaa, it is immediately met by thick clouds of smoke and smog and complete greenish yellow pollution. And it seems to go on longer than it should as the ship kind of pulls into the planet. Eventually you break through the pollution that completely covers this planet. And something to note is that there is almost no nature left on Nar Shaddaa. It is city to city throughout the entirety of the moon. Countless skyscrapers, and most of the skyscrapers are completely cut off by the smog polluting it, so you can't see above maybe the first 4 or 5 stories of many of the skyscrapers. As you roar in and you can see the landscape of the cities, it's just run-down buildings. Much like you would assume you would see slums on fuck, the planet's gone again from me. Coruscant, yeah. That is the entirety of the planet. It is slums and rundown buildings from eye to eye with blinking neon lights. When you land and you hear the people talking, there's screaming, there's arguing, and there's obviously kind conversation happening as well. You kind of pull into this starport and the ship lands. A little rocky. You don't like it, but it's probably about as rocky as it took off. And it touches down on its landing gear. And immediately outside the window, as you can see, people are rushing up to this thing. Some are going to refuel it. Some are doing some checks. Other people, there's like a crowd that actually lines up on the outside of where the landing pad is going to be, of a good mix of beggars and people looking to do trade or sell things. And you can just see this outside your window. Never mind going out there. As it lands, you are making your way probably towards the exiting, and before you can even leave the room, as you turn the corner, the gentleman that greeted you Dave, is standing right there with his arms crossed. Listen, he fancies himself a gentleman.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
And he just looks at you. He just looks at you with expectantly.
So knowing that he was going to get his money, I already had the 10 credits in my hands. I don't know if it's like a single chip that counts as 10.
Yeah, it's like a chip.
It's literally one of those things where I'd kind of like flip it, like thumb up, flip it to him as I walk by, but not in like a off to this, but like to him, like gently.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, he'll kind of put his hand out and like let it land in his hand, and he kind of snatches it up and puts it in his pocket, but says nothing to you. Just kind of lets you go on your way. And he seems to be going to do shaking down some other people as well.
Mm-hmm. Shaking down so much. I mean, we are paying for a service, right?
Yes, it's very true. You did pay for a service. That is true. The landing gear comes down, and there's already a crowd of people on the inside of the ship looking to get off. You're probably in the middle of that. As people are going out, you can actually hear as the landing pad kind of opens up on the ship, the screams of people trying to hawk their wares at these people as they walk through. Some of the humans that are first walked off the ship are shoving through there, being completely surrounded by these people. And you've been here many, many times. While these people are actually, make me a streetwise check. Please. I am doing that right now. You are welcome to do so. Just a normal 2.
Skullduggery. Streetwise. Bam. I guess it's a flat nothing.
It's a flat nothing, so it's a failure.
It's a failure with no penalties.
Yep. So your character's seen this plenty of times before. Your character hasn't had any particularly bad interactions when this happens. But you also know being surrounded by a bunch of people on Nar Shaddaa is usually bad news. in general.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, when I get off of the ship, I'm actually probably not in a, like, I probably like the smell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I've grew up around junkyards and old ships and stuff like that. So immediately when I get off, I can almost imagine feeling the streetwise. I'm a little absorbed in looking at all the other ships that I walk by.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I wouldn't even necessarily walk straight off the docks either. I would kind of like meander around a bit, just kind of like taking in the other vessels and seeing, like, if there's something like, oh, I've flown that before. Oh, that's a beauty. It's like a passion.
So you step off the ship and you're immediately hit, before even the smell, the temperature of this place. It's muggy. There's no breeze. It's hot, but you're not entirely sure if it's hot because this place is just in a city planet, or if because the distance of the sun, or a mix of both. The smell is pungent. It is a mix of rotting meat and corpses, maybe, or just like hanging meat from vendors, with the usual pollution smell of smoke and smog. Obviously, the metals in the area, the fuel of jet fuel throughout, especially on the port, permeates your nose. But like you said, Kyle probably really enjoys that. As you look and you're kind of just avoiding the crowd as people are getting surrounded and people are trying to hawk their wares to these people. You're just walking through and you see all kinds of different ships. You're seeing a little, like, those little handlebar, I forget what they're called. They look like little handlebar transport ships. There's a few of those there. There is a couple of fire sprays, which are the Boba Fett ships, for those people who are curious.
Slave one.
In a mix of conditions. Are you just looking, just kind of like taking the sights and be like, this is just kind of your place?
Yeah, just like appreciating. If there's anything that seems to be like a well-maintained classic or just like a brand new ship, I'd stop and kind of like do the whole walk around it and, like much like you like if you find somebody modern day that like really appreciates cars and they happen to go to an area where there are some nice cars around, kind of like taking the sight for a minute, and instead of just like get in my car and drive away, like walk around the parking lot for a second.
Right. Make me a perception check, please.
Sure.
2 difficulty, it's there.
Yep.
3
Ooh,
successes.
resounding success.
So actually, there is a ship that catches your eye while you're walking through here, and the stretch of ships is actually pretty big. This particular starport seems to be a relatively main one for a lot of in and out ships. But as you're walking by, you're like, oh yeah, there's a fire spray. Yeah, it looks like it's in actually pretty good condition. Oh, I don't recognize the symbol that's painted on that ship. I wonder if that's a new company or an organization I never heard of before. Or you see like a skip boat or whatever. You actually see a TIE fighter at the in one of these ports.
A TIE fighter? Oh man, I imagine those haven't been seen in a long time.
You are surprised in that TIE fighters have, for the most part, been not really seen, but occasionally you have spotted one, whether it seems like it's a pet project for somebody or whatever, because TIE fighters are just really not used that much at the current moment.
So I probably never piloted one before because
probably not.
I wasn't a member of the Empire. So,
right. But you've seen TIE fighters plenty of times during your days during the war. So the fact that it's a TIE fighter doesn't actually catch your eye. What catches your eye is actually there seems to be heavy modification done to this very particular TIE fighter, especially to the rear end. Why it catches your eye is TIE fighters are cheap. They're very easy to make. They're very easy to destroy. So doing modifications on a TIE fighter can be kind of dangerous, because if it's a heavy modification, it's very much going to negatively affect the hull of that ship. Just a quick look, you're walking by, and it seems like the rear end of the ship has been modified with something that a TIE fighter doesn't typically have. A hyperdrive of some sort, kind of strapped to the back of this TIE fighter. And that's the word that comes to your mind. That hyperdrive looks like it's strapped to the back of this thing. It looks hurried and slapped together and not remotely safe. But that's also the first time you've ever seen somebody decide to put a hyperdrive on a TIE fighter.
I won't lie, it's a little exciting because much like it, it's one of those things where if like you're a person that rides Harleys, every once in a while you're like, I don't know though, but like a Kawasaki Ninja could be fun. You know what I mean?
It's very much like a Kawasaki Ninja type deal where it's like, that's fast, but also like, I would die if I crashed.
Wait a second, a Kawasaki Ninja with a 3300cc engine, like what? That's a big engine for a little bike.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to die,
and that's why it catches your eye.
I'm really curious.
As far as if there's anybody around the ship right now, none. There does seems to be some mercenary guards kind of laying around. That's not too surprising. Most ships have people have purchased some guards to just kind of watch over their ship while they go, because Nar Shaddaa security itself is not reliable. Mercenaries who get paid are much more reliable than the security of the Nar Shaddaa planet, where most police officers can just be paid off to say they saw nothing. So this has like a couple of guards kind of posted outside of it, but it doesn't look like there's anybody the ship belongs to kind of hovering around it right now.
Yep.
The ship is pretty beat up, but you also think that's attributed to the modifications that were done to it.
Yeah. Like it hurts the hull of the ship to strap the crap on.
Right.
Cool. Like I said, I look at around. I give it like the good old whistle and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, could I like roll something like maybe a mechanics check to see like if it even looks flyable, or some sort of check to see if
you're welcome to do it. It's going to be a difficult thing to tell because you're not really on the inside and able to see. So I'm going to make it 3 is hard, right? 3 die is hard.
Correct.
All right, yeah. I'm going to make it a 3 difficult dice to kind of get an idea just by walking by it without really getting a good inspection on it.
And there's mechanics, correct?
Yeah, it'd be a mechanics. I don't know what else it could be.
Piloting space, since it's a spaceship.
No, you would mechanics.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. I was just looking to see if there's anything else. Lore, intelligent core worlds. Yeah, no, it'd be that. Cool. Okay. I'll roll it. Mechanics. So just failure with no penalty.
Yep. You can't tell. You're not. You'd love to get in there just to know.
Displaying the dice on the.
Oh, yep. Sorry, my bad. I had that up. Now it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. My bad. Sorry, chat. Yeah. So you just be like, damn. You wish you could get in there just because you're an enthusiast. You want to know. You just want to know. Do you approach the guards at all? Do you not even bother?
No, I'm not going to. Like I took in the site. I think it's beautiful, but like at the same time, somebody who's willing to fly around the TIE fighter and strap that kind of stuff to it is somebody who's not really looking to. I don't know. I feel like that person's going to be a bit edgy as it is. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll drink a cup of coffee or a stiff cup of coffee in the morning, but like I don't inject caffeine directly into my veins, and I feel like this person might be that kind of person.
Yep.
So I'm going to go and head to the typical cantina that I go to. So where my friend is.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to be attempting to leave the starport, and there's still a crowd of people still trying to hawk wares. Most of the people off the Corellian Corvette are gone, and they've left, so the bulk of the crowd is there. However, there's still a few panhandlers out there and people trying to hawk some wares. Do you want to attempt to avoid them, or do you just want to try and walk by them and ignore them for the most part?
Yep, just walk by them. You know, don't say anything, do anything, just kind of.
Absolutely. Is there
I'm supposed to be here.
I apologize, but this is why we have episode 0. Is there like a blank character sheet I can use to make my own skill rolls?
Actually, under yours, yep, I call it where's my NPC basic one? NPC rolls is literally what I call it.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh yeah, right there, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yeah. It's right underneath your dice pool. And then I also have kind of under the foes category, like a bunch of like battle droids and stormtroopers and stuff like that, kind of like preset for you. Mm-hmm. So guard.
Appreciate it. Where's where do you is that under the stormtroopers have security droid that right there? You're saying guard?
Yeah. All those are underneath foes, just as like basic bad guys.
Gotcha.
You can fiddle with the stats if you need to.
Cool. Yeah. I'm good with that. I want to make sure I have this at the ready for whenever I want to make it. There, I clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. Okay.
So just to give you one more little heads up, the way I have NPC roles set up is I have all the stats set to 1.
1, it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, and then usually what I'll do is I'll kind of increase the skill as I go.
Right.
Like just boop, 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 boop,
and I assume you're like, well, do you increase? Yeah, you increase the skill. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I lower it down when I don't need it anymore if I'm playing a different character or whatever the case is. So just keep it simple.
Yep.
But obviously you do what works easiest for you.
Yep, no problem. I just wanted to make sure this was open. Okay, so you leave the starport relatively no problem. There are a few people who are trying to sell you some cheap communicators. This guy in one particular comes running up to you in a trench coat. His hair is a mess. His beard looks like mine when I don't trim it. It's just scraggly and everywhere. And he's like holding out in his hand. He's like, I tell you, sir, I got myself one of them translators. Over 10,000 languages. You speak into it, and it translates to the one you choose. And this right here is only 50 credits. And I've been holding on to this thing for the right person. And you, sir, you look like the right person. And he's like, he just runs up to you, just trying desperately. Would you like it?
So I'm going to look at him and be like, and then I'm in the best, I don't know what language I pull off, like
Okay.
Ithorian or whatever it is, but like no English, kind of and just totally try to play it off like I can't understand intergalactic.
And he actually wags his finger at you. He's like, oh, that's what language? What speako? What speako?
No, like backing away. No English.
And he starts flipping you through, and he's like, "What do you speak?" And then the thing's like, in another language.
No English. Continuing to just like back away.
He tries for a little while. He'll actually follow you up until the door that leads out of the starport. He's following you through the weight rooms, and he's like flicking through different languages, desperately trying to communicate.
Like I said, I was backing away a little bit. Eventually, I was gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's persistent." And
Very
just gonna,
persistent.
like turn and start like walking, and maybe even put like my head down a bit and start walking fast. Like, oh man, it's like when you walk into the mall and the people are bothering you, and you're like, "No, I'm just on my cell phone." No, I'm just on my cell phone.
Yeah.
They follow you.
Yeah. Yep, no, that's what he's doing. He's very persistent until you get to the doors that lead out to the city. But once you get there, he says something, kind of mumbles under his breath, and looks for the next person to go and bother. But holy shit, he was very persistent.
Mm-hmm.
You walk out the starport doors, and you're actually met with a street. Yeah, he's gone. There are a couple of guards that kind of stand outside, but they're chatting with one another. They're not paying attention whatsoever. And the smell of jet fuel and the rusting metal and the starships leaves as you kind of walk further away. And the smell of sewage and pollution really overtakes your olfactory senses. Yeah. Through the smog, you can barely see like glowing neon lights of mostly orange and yellow. Really hard to read the signs. A lot of the letters within the signs themselves are blinking out and don't exist in it. And with those lights kind of out, seeing that through the smog is impossible. You have no idea what building that is. A lot of the buildings themselves are just slums for people to sleep in for a very cheap price. But there's also a lot of crime that happens there. The street is packed with people, utterly packed. With all kinds of different races pushing through, talking one another. You went to PAX East last year. You remember how crammed PAX East was. That's what it's like. Except it smells worse than PAX East smelled on a Sunday. And that's awful. And I'm not excited because PAX East is 4 days this year. And Sunday is going to be horrendous. And just people pushing by one another, and the constant sound of people talking, shouting in the distance, people shouting for things you can't even tell, just completely overtakes you.
Is this one of those scenarios where, like, no matter how much time you spend here, you can't get monkey caged either?
Yes, it is one of those things. The monkey cage effect is because every area of the planet smells terrible in their own unique way.
Oh, lovely.
And the town you're in now is very sewage nastiness. It's con funk, but way worse. Like con funk if the bathrooms were overflowing and not working properly. Con funk if there weren't enforcers trying to get the flow of traffic in a convention to stay smooth. There's none of that kind of regulation here. And most police work is done by droid of some sort, usually a flying droid that kind of oversees the city. But even then, those are not reliable. And by the time a droid gets there to address your crime, the crime has already taken place and you've already lost everything you want. And that person probably has a new identity already and has lost themselves within the city. So it's packed. And that is probably uncomfortable. But knowing that, I assume Kyle keeps most of his stuff close to his chest to not get pickpocketed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I imagine he generally keeps his stuff in tighter areas. And it's like one of those things, whenever I go to Boston, my wallet goes from my back pocket to my front pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just goes there because it's a deeper pocket that's much more difficult to reach into.
Yep. Exactly. And that's kind of what it mostly works as. Sorry, I'm looking up something real quick for lore purposes. But looking up this one thing is like, no, man, you're looking for this specifically. No, I'm not. I'm looking for something else. Okay, cool. Got it. Done. So you're going to meet this guy at a bar. And right now, as far as daytime is concerned, it's somewhere mid to late day. It's really difficult to see the sun through the clouds. If you check your clock, I guess it'd be like probably close to 3 p.m. What did I say? Did I meant cantina? What did I say?
Bar.
Sorry, Star Wars lingo. You go into the cantina that he would like to meet you at. This actually, as you make your way there, you see the cantina, and the cantina itself is relatively small. It really doesn't stand out amongst the cantina that's probably that's like across the street and down a block. But there are cantinas that litter the area. But this place is actually Zalt's Cantina. That's the name of it, and it belongs to the guy that you're going to work for.
Yep.
You make your way in, and on the outside of this cantina, there's a bouncer droid that just kind of stands outside, and he is a retrofitted protocol droid. He's silver, as most protocol droids are, but his arms have been replaced. Well, one arm has been completely replaced with a gun arm, and the other arm has been significantly modified to be more proficient in melee. He has wires sticking out of the back of his neck, and he's definitely dinged up on his head where clearly a few people have thrown punches his way. His legs are still the 3PO, or the protocol droid rather, typical legs, though you know for a fact, because you've kind of run into this droid before, they're modified in their own unique and special way. He can move a lot quicker than most protocol droids can. He's a lot more nimble. He stands in the front, and as you walk up, he just looks to you and he says, "Identification papers." And he reaches out for them.
I have those, right?
Yes, of course you do.
Okay. I was like, that's not my hair. Yep. I just give the papers to it.
And he pulls them up to his face. One of his eyes kind of blinks in and out, needs a light bulb change, kind of lowers them. And he says, "Zalt is expecting you, Mr. Dween." And he steps aside.
I'll nod. I won't go straight to where Zalt is. I'll head over to the bar first.
Sure. You walk through, and the music is live music, as it mostly is. Yes, 2. You're looking for 2 drinks, I'm assuming? Sure. So it's live music playing. Do we want to go with Star Wars music? It's called Jizz. That type of music is actually called Jizz. Because Star Wars.
That is weird. That is weird.
Some jizz music is playing from a live band. They're not half bad. The bar is relatively poppin', but it usually is. It's not super, super busy. It's called Jizz. Chat, I'm not kidding you. Look it up. It is called Jizz.
It was, the first person to ever play the style of music was, her name was Giselle. And, as like her type of their new style of music became legendary, they just, it's jizz music, I feel that jizz.
Yeah, gotta feel that jizz in your bones. Gotta get that jizz up inside you. Let it take over. It's
very wholesome jizz. It makes you feel warm inside. Every once in a while, you get some jizz that's a bit salty, but that's after like a breakup or whatever, when the writer is getting really into the deep feels. Yeah.
So you let the jizz enter your body, and you're kind of doing your thing with the jizz. And you got 2
ear holes.
You walk up, bartender it's a Deveronian bartender, and something to note: all employees, with the exception of the droid, are Deveronian here. Zalt himself is very proud of his species. You might know why. You're not entirely sure. Actually, is there like a lore check? Yep.
What is it called? It's down at the very bottom. There is called lore, intelligence, just lore.
Yeah,
there's also Outer Rim. There's also Core World, Underworld, Xenology, Warfare.
I'm debating if it's Xenology specifically. I think it would be
about a race.
Xenology. Yeah. Let's go ahead and set the dice pool. This is something your character may not really know
about the
Deveronians, because you've only, unless this is up to you. Like, how often do you deal with Deveronians outside of Zalt?
So I imagine, once again, because they're like devil people, they give me like a little bit of the willies, as I already said. It's one of those things where, but Zalt's different. You know what I mean? Okay. But he's not like the rest of the Deveronians.
So you mostly avoid them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll roll it.
Yep. Go right ahead, and you're welcome to.
Fail with a minor threat.
So you don't know why he's, however, so proud of him. However, you do have the assumption, because of your typical your knowledge of Deveronians themselves. You think he's proud because he's made a name for himself. And Deveronians, man, as far as you know, they're just criminal. They're a criminal race. Crime runs in their blood, and he's a pretty successful criminal. And you think he's proud because, hey, he's made it where a lot of his species has not. Anyway, Scott failed the "don't be a racist" check. Nice, exactly. Anyway,
there are so many in the galaxy. You're gonna have your stereotypes.
Of course.
When your race is named Devil, I mean,
Yeah. Anyway, so you do you go up and say two. He leans in the bar. To what? What do you want? Shots, beer.
House choice.
He snickers. How much you got on you?
You know what? I got a meeting, and I'll turn and like walk away to just go head to Zalt instead.
And he goes, shrugs, and he just goes over to the next person. So Zalt has his own special. It's not really a closed off room, but it's got like curtains in front of it. It's in the very back, as most people stereotypically do. And he has a couple of guards sitting outside it. As you approach and you're kind of pushing past a few people and someone shouts at you, "Hey, watch where you're walking." And you kind of walk your way to the back of the cantina. You can see two guards standing outside of it, Deveronian guards, and there's two figures sitting behind the curtain. You assume one is Zalt, but you can't really hear any conversation happening. Do you just wait patiently, or do you approach the guards?
Nope, I'm perfectly fine. If he's expecting me, it's one of those things where, well, what's the normal? Do I usually wait? Do I usually walk in?
That's up to you.
I've dealt with him before.
I will say you usually wait. You usually wait till his business is concluded.
That's what I'll do, because like I'm not in a rush. I literally just landed here.
Maybe early on you made a mistake of barging and being like, "Hey, I have a meeting with him," but you usually wait. That's fine. So it doesn't take long. He's clearly maybe within 5 or 10 minutes, he's done with this conversation. A female Deveronian walks out. She's actually very nicely dressed. She has a gorgeous golden jeweled necklace around her neck. She's in a dark blue outfit that complements her rather dark red skin impeccably. And she has two short horns that just stick out just a bit, and one of them has piercings through the horn all the way up to the top. She's wearing really nice makeup, and for a Deveronian, not half bad. Not half bad.
Wow. For a Deveronian.
This is what your character's thinking, not what my character's thinking.
Wow.
That's not what I don't have a character.
Wow. Okay. No. So for a Deveronian,
for a devil creature.
For a caveat in there, I didn't say a devil can't be sexy. You know what I mean? Like
that's true. That's
just
very
that you
true.
can't trust them.
That's true. Very pretty Deveronian.
There you go.
And as she walks away, one of the two guards walks with her and seems to be either escorting her or following her to make sure she gets out of here safely.
I mean, I'm a guy. I imagine my character gives like the up and down, like not like one of those like I don't mind if she observes the fact that I'm observing her. I'm not going to be too crude about it.
Mm-hmm. No problem. And actually, she doesn't seem to pay any heed to you. Doesn't seem offended or anything. She probably gets it a lot in Nar Shaddaa, especially. As she leaves, and she takes only a few steps away, and as I imagine, you kind of like watch her walk by and then gently bring your head back. You see the guard looking at you, making the gesture to head on inside. Mm-hmm. You may have met this guard before, but he tends to have a lot of different guards in and out, so you're not entirely sure. But he opens the curtain for you and like motions for you to head inside. And mm-hmm. Zalt is sitting there with a rather large golden, what could only be described as a goblet in front of him, filled with what is presumably alcohol and a nice prepared meal just for himself, sitting there.
What does he look like?
I'm getting into that. As he sees you, he stands up. As he stands up, this is one of, and probably the best dressed Deveronian on Nar Shaddaa you have ever had the pleasure of working with. He is in all black from top to bottom, but it's like a three-piece kind of attire. He has nice black dress pants, a really nice black t-shirt with, much like the female who went by, gem kind of necklace that hangs around his neck. Not the same one. This one is a little bit more intricate and has a dark blue gem dead in the center of it. His horns kind of almost like slicked back hair kind of follow the circumference of his scalp perfectly, and he has nicely trimmed hair right down the center of between both of those horns. He has a wicked smile that shows perfect teeth in every way, well cleaned, well kept, indicating to you that if he does drugs, he probably doesn't do any oral drugs outside of alcohol. And he's very, very clean, and he smiles at you as he stands and reaches out to shake your hand. He's like, Kyle, it has been too long, my friend. It's good to see you.
I'm gonna, I'll shake his hand back, and I'll be like, I love the black and red. It just goes.
He smiles, and he's like, I agree. I discovered this complements my appearance rather well early in my career, and I just have never abandoned it. It just, it helps you stand out from the crowd. And he motions for you to take a seat, and he takes a seat himself as he kind of brushes his hands together, looking at his food and then looking up to you, and he's like, "Do you mind?" Gesturing towards food as though, "Do you mind if he eats in front of you?"
Nope. I also don't sit down because I don't think he gestured towards a seat or anything.
He did. I said he gestured towards the
I'm so
seat.
sorry, I missed that part.
And this is a booth in the back corner. This is a rather U-shaped booth with a big table in the center. He's sitting on the end of one side. And he gestures you to sit at the opposite end, not next to him, of the other table.
So like I'll sit down, but imagine just because once again it's like I'm still not very used to it after all this time. After I sit down, I have to like awkwardly readjust the holster.
Yep.
That's
got a gun.
Like, oh god, this is uncomfortable. And slide in, and because like he's eating, and I don't want to do that whole awkward like, what you eating?
Well,
so I'm actually gonna kind of like take my eyes, like take in the rest of the.
Sure. Well, so when you take a seat, that's actually when the guard will close the curtain. So seeing out into the cantina is kind of just shadows and non-details. However, the booth, again, this is the booth you've always gone to. And this booth is well decorated with portraits of himself and portraits of city skylines from a planet that you're not entirely familiar with. It's just a beautifully well decorated booth. And in this booth, in his cantina particularly, the aroma of his food overtakes pretty much all negative smells of the city. You're far enough back and away from the streets, and you know the way Zalt kind of handles himself. The juicy, succulent meats permeate your nostrils, and the sweetness of his drink mixes almost really well with that aroma and kind of makes you salivate right out the gate. As he kind of brushes his hand, goes for his utensils, he goes and cuts what is some sort of meat, maybe it's Bothan meat, and goes to take his first bite. He stops and he's like, rude of me. Would you like something?
Before I answer that, eating another sapient creature, is that like
not Bothans? Fuck, I am so out of touch with the what I'm looking for.
You mean the cow-like creature, the Bantha?
Banthas. Banthas is exactly what I'm looking. Not Bothan meat. God damn, Bantha meat.
I was like, these really are devil people.
He is the devil.
He's cutting into long pork. You know what I'm saying?
Bantha meat. But he says, how rude of me. Would you like something on the house, of course, before we get into business.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of like I'm gonna look at what he's eating. It probably looks good. And my stomach is rumbling because like all I had was alcoholic coffee this morning. But you don't want to be in debt to a favor even this small to a person like this. And so I'm going to be like, no, I ate this morning.
He nods. He's like, suit yourself. Drink perhaps. And he just goes and takes a bite. Do you assume he's trying to get you in like indebted by like offering you food and you want to make a check for that?
Streetwise, you mean?
Yep. Hang on. I'm going to adjust the difficulty a little bit. Okay, you can go ahead and make your roll.
Okay. What's the result for that?
That is a success and 2 advantages. Right out the gate, when he offers you the food and the drink, you don't perceive it as him owing you a favor. Not because he doesn't say it in a weird a way that doesn't seem like he's owing it. Everything that slithers out of this man's mouth always seems like there's a tinge of underlying meaning behind what he's offering you. There's always more to it. But you have had many a meal with this guy over time, and he's never ever been like, you owe me for that steak, or you owe me whatever. It's always been a genuine kind of gesture of, here, have something. I own this place. Have something.
Okay, then I'll kind of like retract that first part of it and be like,
yeah,
eating during a meeting I find awkward. Like I don't want to like, do I chew with my mouth open?
Right,
do
right.
I cover my mouth? Oh no, I got spaghetti in my beard. You know, so I'm just gonna like, that will be the reason why I say no. But when he says the drink, I'll be like, actually, if somebody wanted like house choice, what would you guys usually serve here?
For you talking about for food specifically?
Drink.
Oh, for drink, he's like, I'm partial to what he's drinking, which is a type of wine he discusses. But if you're saying house drink and what people particularly enjoy here, don't mind the name, but there's a mixed drink that we run around a few of these cantinas in the local area, Deveronian blood.
You know what? I think I would like a taste of, I don't know if it's inappropriate to say, a taste of the devil.
He smirks to that, and he actually just kind of bangs on the wall behind him, and the guard peeks in through the curtain off to the side, and he's like, anything else? Food?
Thank you.
Okay. He says, Deveronian blood, 2 of them. And the guard nods and walks off. He starts eating, and he looks over to you. He's like, so how's business been lately?
Well, sometimes I fly, and sometimes I get flown to places where I'm looking to fly.
Well, if there's one thing you're damn good at, it's flying. And did you take your own ship in this time? Did you have a job that led here, or?
Nope, I paid someone that I'd rather have never given my credits to.
Story of every damn business person on this damn planet. He smirks and he takes a bite.
No, surely that can't be true. I imagine you like giving your credits to me.
You're one of the few. And he smiles and is like a very he's wickedly charismatic. And he takes a bite of the meat. And one of the few non-charismatic things about him, this dude chews with his mouth open.
Oh,
as soon as he's just like, hung, and he's like, huh, and his sharp teeth are piercing the meat. Juices are dribbling out, and he kind of wipes his mouth. And
he's probably the reason why I have made my decision to not eat during business meetings.
It might be.
Literally this guy.
He very well may be. And like when food dribbles out, it's almost like the persona of such a well-kept professional man melts away in front of your eyes as juices from the meats dribble out, and he wipes it with his sleeve, and he physically isn't just enjoying the food. He scoops up whatever side dish, it looks like a rice of some sort, he just throws in his mouth. Some of the rice falls by the wayside. He is far from proper when he decides to eat and drink. And he just, if he takes a sip of the drink to wash it down, he will without question belch after taking a good bite. But he pays, and so you deal with it.
I mean, sure, that's fine. You know, he's the one that's, you know, got to find a date.
Yeah, true. Who knows? That could have been a date right before you. Nobody will know.
Money buys things.
He goes ahead and takes a few more bites and just kind of opens small talk with you, but eventually kind of cuts the small talk, and he reaches into his pocket off to the side, and he pulls out a data pad, slaps it on the table, turns it towards you, and grinds it, like slides it across the table, the sound of metal on stone, until it sits right in front of you, and he just points at it and assumes that you'll pick it up. And it's at that point the guard comes back with 2 Deveronian blood drinks, and they are not wines. They come in like a tall glass with an ice cube sitting at the top, and the liquid itself looks thick and is blood crimson red.
Oh, it's red. Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. Does it have a straw?
No straw.
Awesome. So I will, my first sip, I won't lie, my first sip, it'll be a little dainty, like, you know, just tasting it, just try to like see how it is.
So as soon as you take a sip, it is beautifully sweet. It is not overpoweringly sweet by any stretch, but it is like the perfect mix of very easy, very smooth to swallow, and it goes down without problem. After a few seconds of it swallowing, all of a sudden this fire burns within like your esophagus. It burns, and that sweetness turns to a bitterness. That aftertaste is extraordinarily bitter, and depending on how good of a drinker you are, this is where some people would vomit or be like, I'm fucking done, or be like, the sweetness followed up by a pure bitter. This is the stiff drink I like.
So just to be clear, based off your description at first there, I literally would have done the quick sip, not even a few moments passing, then taking a big gulp after that.
Yep.
So before I knew.
Yep. That sounds good. And it hits you, and then all of a sudden the fire just like it burns straight down to your chest, and the bitterness overtakes your mouth. And some people. Actually, he looks at you and sees your reaction. Are you
Can I roll to keep my cool?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. That'll just be a normal difficulty of 2. How often does your character drink, actually?
I mean, we're talking daily, but it's not like he's a hard alcoholic or anything like that. It's just one of those, usually daily there's a drink you can get. And
that
so
sounds good. Then I'll leave it at a normal difficulty check to try and hide that look.
You know, you
don't
bad things.
You don't. So yeah, you don't hide the fact that there's a reaction, but the reaction isn't outwardly disgusting. It's just like he notices that, you did not expect that, and it was surprising. And
can I take that 2 to turn it into a blue die and throw it onto a charm check to like complements the
yeah,
the drink?
Why not? Yeah, that sounds good to me.
His selection.
So you want to back it up like, hey, no, this was great, kind of thing. Yeah,
we have like, you know. So you throw the blue one on there. Or you want me to?
I will throw the blue one on for you right now.
Okay,
it is done. Go right ahead.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll leave it at 2. You tried really, really, really hard.
So I'm gonna come off like one of those like So a great choice there. Thanks.
No, you failed, but you got some advantage. So he actually smiles at you and he's like, that's where the smart drinker will follow up that negative taste with another swig to get that sweetness back. Exactly.
Thanks for the
tip.
And then I'll just kind of like let the sentence roll off there and pick up what he had put down.
Yep, absolutely. And he takes a bite and he's kind of giggling to himself as he's sloppily continuing to devour it. At this point, half of his meal is gone. The dude eats fast. So you pick up the data pad. And the very first thing on it is the first thing you see is a picture of a rotating planet. One that you recognize. Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what do you know about Tatooine?
It's got double Huey, the two sun orbit thing. The name always, makes it kind of a bitch to land on. Other than that, let's see. The huts have a pretty good grip on it, but I don't think that bothers you. You can get stuff at a good price if you talk to the right people, or get shot if you talk to the wrong people. They actually farm their own dew there, don't they?
Moisture farmers, yeah.
Yeah.
If you believe the legends, that's where Luke Skywalker came from. But
was he even real?
That's what Empire falls, and where does he go? Fucking who knows?
I mean, it's one of those. It's been like 10 years. I mean, clearly we've all forgotten that he ever existed.
In Star Wars logic, it only takes a decade to forget.
Yeah. So if he was, even real, but either way, also the Jawas there. If do you speak Jawese?
I do not, but if I head to Tatooine, which I do on occasion, I make sure I bring my droid with me. He does.
I know a couple words, like if, when they're snickering a certain way, they're going to try to screw you over. There are other words that kind of like threats. And I know good soup.
Jawas are a pain in my ass as far as I'm concerned. Little scavengers that live out in the sand, take whatever's not fucking nailed down. But I bring Cryo with me, so he tends to do the job. Keeping them dead or keeping them away. Anyway, you brought up the huts. That's exactly the thing. I got a job with the huts. Now, it's no secret. Shit's been hot out here for the past few years, ever since the Empire has kind of lifted their hold off of the outskirts. However, the Empire left in a hurry. And in doing so, they left a lot of things behind. A lot of things that are worth a lot of money to a lot of different people. And the huts, they like to deal on that sort of thing. And I have something they want, and I'm going to have you take it to them.
Sure.
Were you about to say something? Sorry, go right ahead.
He just says, sure.
Okay. He continues eating his food. You're a good pilot, and that's why I'm only trusting you, because chances are, he kind of scratches his nose, most people would crash this thing. I got a modified TIE fighter I want you to bring to Tatooine.
I saw that.
Did you? You landed, well, I mean, makes sense. You'd land on the starport that's probably close to here. That's where you were going. You sound a little worried immediately.
Bit of trepidation. Don't get me wrong. I've never flown it. I would love and that thing is, at the same time though, it's kind of one of those, is it a one-way trip?
We'll actually do the math on how long the trip will be here in a minute. And he kind of laughs. He's like, my pet project, did it myself. Very proud of the work I've done.
You physically modified it yourself?
Me and a team. I had a bright idea, and, well, it works. It's passed a few of the tests, and it hasn't been destroyed yet. And the huts, TIE fighters are very difficult to detect on radar.
Yeah, they're like made out of tin.
Yeah, and they're even more difficult to track through hyperspace.
It does hyperspace. That actually works.
It does work. The huts like it, and they're willing to pay for it. And I've got a few other TIE fighters where that comes from. And if the deal goes through, I might have a little bit of a long-term business with the huts. And I'd like this deal to go through, and you're the best pilot I know.
It's going to take some skill.
Which is why I called you.
Okay. So that is what I'm delivering?
You are delivering that.
Okay. I can do that.
I know you can. Now, you ain't one to take one without good payment. I'm not stupid. Offer you a job. The Huts will be the one that pay it out to you. They have the money. You have to trust me on this, though. And I understand trust can't go a long way, so I can still give you a little bit up front if you don't mind.
Oh, I trust you. It's just the Huts that make me a little,
If the Huts don't pay you, you come back to me. We'll take care of it. But it's going to be 2,000 credits for this delivery.
Understood.
I'll give you 500 now.
Sounds great.
He actually motions for the data pad back, and and I assume you just kind of scooch it back to him. And he starts going about his business, and he transfers the credits over to you. And if you have a data pad at all, it's delicious. It's a delicious drink.
I'm totally nursing this right now. Totally nursing it.
And he's like, so you're gonna take this thing, and you're gonna take it as it is. It's gonna be. Now, we could take this thing, and the reason we want to bring this TIE fighter as it is the Huts want to see if they're able to detect it. They want to see if they're going to be able to detect it through hyperspace and detect it within Tatooine themselves. They want to see it proven in action before they lay down the credits. And if everything goes as planned, which I know my handiwork and I've run my tests on this thing, it will. We'll get the money, no problem. If it doesn't, you take the ship back to me. I'll pay you for your troubles and wasted time. We'll go on our way, and I'll be sure to contact you if I ever get another job. Sound good?
Yep.
Cool. He takes a bite, opens up some things in the data pad, flips it, pushes it, and before you is a contract.
I'm going to kind of I'm going to actually read through it. I'll actually read through the contract in its entirety. There's no litigation check, is there?
I don't think that exists.
So I suppose maybe education.
I was gonna say I think education will be your.
Maybe streetwise or skullduggery.
I wish you could combine roles. You really can't.
Skullduggery is underhandedness, and streetwise is don't get screwed. So
yeah,
vigilance is will, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I like the idea.
Negotiation, but that's a presence that doesn't really feel like
negotiation will be after you read the contract, and if you don't like something, you negotiate terms. I'm gonna stick with education because most criminals don't put out contracts. It's the higher end ones that tend to have them, so you don't run across contracts too often when you're doing schlub work. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and do education. Let me
So it's intelligence based.
Pool. Okay. It's going to be intelligence based. And this is a kind of a beefy contract. So it's going to be a 3 die.
Sure.
And you're good to roll when you're ready.
Sure.
You're rolling dead evens a lot today, which is preferable.
Honestly, I like that. When we played Star Wars last time, it was obnoxious. It was extreme successes and extreme failures left and right. So really I like the dead even. It feels like a more balanced system. I actually was going to say those 3 advantages from before. I forgot to say, is there any chance that I can use those to get a blue die on this check? But I totally forgot. So it was too late.
Just roll 1 blue die. You can throw 1 blue in there. I don't see why not.
Can you remove the purples then? I'll do that.
Yeah. 1 second. Okay, they're down.
You got just an advantage, nothing gained.
So cool. You read through this contract. It's long. But you've read through his contracts before, so you kind of skim through it, and nothing jumps out as oh, wait a minute, that's weird. At the same time, you weren't going to read 20 pages of garbage, of just intergalactic law speak. Yeah. And even if you did...
I flip through bars, I look for chunks.
Right, exactly. And that's what you do, and it seems to be okay. So you go ahead and sign, and push it back to him. He goes ahead and signs his name, and he's like, done then. I'm going to put you up in a place tonight. And I want you heading off tomorrow as soon as you get up. I'll feed you. I'll take care of you. You know how I work. I take care of my boys. And that's how I'm going to take care of you. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, feel free to open. The floor is open. I'm an open book.
Nope. I suppose, if I may, you said you and a team. Can I get any one of them to kind of walk through to squeeze into the ship with me so I can kind of get familiar with its interface?
You asking somebody to fly with you, Scott, or
no, he's asking somebody to
a rundown.
Mechanics to go do a rundown, look it over, give me because if there's a hyper That's not like something built into the interface. It's gonna be like, oh, you see this duct taped lever? Pull that.
Yeah, he nods and he's like, of course. Well, I'll send one of the boys that worked with me on this thing, and we'll give you the rundown to make sure you know how everything works and you won't have any issues while you're piloting this thing. That's one of the easiest things, the simplest things I could do for you.
That's all.
Okay. He nods and he's like, yeah, this is why I love working with you, Kyle. You don't ask too many questions. You take your pay and you get shit done.
Thanks.
He continues eating. Do you finish the drink?
Like I nurse it. So if he wants to engage in small talk, once like the business portion ends, I open back up a bit and like I do chat with him because like we do have a rapport since we've known each other for so long. I will chat with him like small talk, and I will nurse the drink till it's finished if I end up being there long enough. If I'm there for a short period of time and there's still a chunk left, I'm gonna kind of like look at it begrudgingly and hope he doesn't notice, and then swig the last of it just to not be rude. But God, like say one of those say my goodbyes, stand up, swig it, and turn the fuck out. Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
However that plays out.
Yeah, no, you're welcome to make a roll for that. That would be because you're trying to hide it, like deception.
Sure, I'm so good at that.
Exactly. So you're trying to like all in like a socially acceptable way to like swig it and say goodbye. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it was great, good to see you. And see if he catches you. Go for it. You're good to roll.
Yay!
Not a problem. You drink enough where it's not a big deal at all.
It's literally one of those like throw it and put it down and turn before the sweetness fades.
Yep, exactly. And you make your way out. Why don't we take our first break here? Because we'll come back and we're gonna finish it up. But I've got probably like another hour of stuff to take care of. I want to grab something to eat real quick, and we'll come right back. Thank you guys for watching. Don't go anywhere. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Scott, getting in character. You see the, you're muted, I think. Okay. Do you see the character art that Ollie did for you?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I saw it earlier. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Looks good.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
I have to, before we get back into it, I am still not, you're probably much more used to it than I am, but I am still not used to how fast time goes streaming D&D. Like, how much time I have to work with here. I'm like, wait, I've only got like an hour at most left. And
sometimes it goes so fast and sometimes it drags on.
Right. Especially with an opening.
Whether or not Kieran's on a tirade.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I always forget, like, opening, especially first sessions, I want to get descriptions out there, I want to put you in the world. So I spend a lot of time describing. I'm like, fuck, time's running out. God damn it. I got to keep going.
Too. We started an hour late and then we chit-chatted for a while at the beginning, too.
Yeah, no, so. I know. Pardon me while I eat some burritos at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
Agreed, Ollie. Okay, so you leave the establishment, new contract, $500 in your pocket, and a job to do in the morning. What do you decide to do specifically? Do you just like, he gives you the directions to where he's going to put you up. It's literally his own little kind of motel directly across the street from the bar that you're walking out of now. Also uncreatively named Zalt's Motel. Zalt's Sit and Stay. Or do you... The guy has... It's very clear the guy has a fascination with himself. He very much has a fascination with himself.
That's okay. A little narcissism's not necessarily so bad. It's like, big giant gold letters that say Zalt's.
And he's one of the only people that actually uses contracts that you've ever met. Mm-hmm. Now, you've never really gone and used, like, check the legality of these contracts through a lawyer or anything. But he very much likes to put on a front that he is a businessman, first and foremost. Anyway, so what do you have? What is your decision? What do you want to do leaving here? You have $500 in your pocket and half a day to kill.
So credits are easily stolen, but items aren't.
Correct.
And that's something that my character would have known like a long time ago.
That's also Scott saying, I got to spend these before Mike takes them away.
No. Well, sure. Because like, as a DM, I take stuff all the time. But I mean, it's literally one of those things where I imagine my character, because he's a character that's based off of survival, not necessarily looking to be like super wealthy or super famous. He would rather buy something for 500 credits and later on sell it for 350 than have 500 credits stolen from him. You know what I mean? So, I don't need to spend the whole thing, but what's like something that my character might pick up here that would be of value to, I made sure I could just look in the book for equipment.
Well, what do you have right now on you?
Not much, actually. So, item inventory. Let's see, a personal comm link, emergency med pack, and my coat, which counts as a point of soga, as well as my holdout blaster.
Chat says a 50 credit translator.
No, I'm not buying off.
The guy just whips around the corner. I hear you have money now.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm again not. I mean, I understand that in this world, street vendors are the normal, as opposed to me, a spoiled American, where that is not the case. But oh man, that guy is. No, I'm good. Fresh fish, we catch them, you buy them.
Yeah. You don't have a lot of time to contact much black market people. You know it's pretty.
Doesn't have to be black market either.
I was saying, like, if you wanted that, like, the more expensive stuff, it's going to be hard to come by because you don't have the time right now to kind of look for it. So chat saying like a thermal detonator. No, you don't have the time to find a thermal detonator.
That's also like 10 grand. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculously expensive.
I found the equipment stuff really quickly. So that's funny. Give me 2 seconds. Slicer gear. Yeah, it's restricted, I imagine. General purpose scanner is exactly 500 credits if I were to get it for the exact cost. That's not necessarily the case. Med pack, I already owned one, I think. Or I have an emergency.
Got any playing cards? Want some playing cards? You get playing cards real easy.
Well, the Jajaric table is 350.
A table? You can't fit a table in the TIE Fighter.
You know what's funny? I'm going to, because it's important that this deal goes through because I make more money. I want to buy a comm jammer. Its encumbrance is 4. Its rarity is 3, so it's not very rare. But it can definitely fit in the TIE Fighter. And it's something I might be able to use to succeed this mission.
Okay.
Its base value is 400 for a new one. So I'm going to look for a comm jammer and be like, you know what? I need this deal to go through. An extra 1,500 credits would be great. And I could probably sell like I've got a calm jammer, and I can always sell it on the other side if need be. I need this to go through.
Okay. Comm jammer on paper is what? How much?
400 credits for a new one on paper.
I imagine you don't care if it's used or new.
Well, the more I care if it's minor, moderate, or major.
True. Okay. Why don't we get you, like, you're just looking for one?
Mm-hmm.
We might as well make a roll. I would imagine, like, a Streetwise, looking for a good vendor. I'm trying to think what else you could possibly roll for it, but because it's not black market, so no underworld. You're not looking for underworld kind of rolls. You're just looking. You wander in the streets. You're looking for good deals. There are freaking people selling things lining the streets.
I don't care if it's new or not. I just care if it's beat up or not.
Right, of course.
Yep.
So yeah, let's have you make a roll. I'm just gonna leave it at normal difficulty. Actually, you know what? No, we're gonna go easy difficulty. It's gonna be easy. And depending on how well you succeed, will depend on what kind of like the condition it is in. Because finding one is gonna be easy. That's not a problem.
I imagine a normal world might be normal difficulty, but here
super easy here in Nar Shaddaa.
You know what I mean? All right, I'll roll. Ready?
Yeah.
Set. Roll. Succeed, but
3 what do you call those, disadvantages? Threats.
Sorry, disadvantages.
Yeah. Negotiation Captain Shiro would be after he negotiates once he finds it. So you actually find a comm jammer being sold at not some dude leaning up against the building with like his wares on the floor in front of him or on the dirty ground in front of him, but somebody who has set up, at least probably been here for at least a week, a nice little tent. That is, or not tent, but it's got 2 sticks in the ground or 4 sticks in the ground with some tarp over it, and he's got himself a fold-out table with a few things on there.
That's pretty.
Yeah, like that's legit for Nar Shaddaa. Like that is legit in Nar Shaddaa.
That's legit business.
And this is kind of in an area that is more merchant heavy than most other areas. Most other areas are people on the streets just trying to throw shit at you. But because you were looking for something specific and you're looking for something specific that's going to work, you went to the more merchant zone where there are more quote unquote proper vendors there. He's got a few things on the table. Nothing that interests you. Most of it's like knives or dice or cards, but behind him, leaning up against one of the things stuck in the ground, is it's a backpack looking thing, right? The comm jammer.
Yeah.
And it's like leaning up against one of the poles, sitting there just behind him off to the right. And the gentleman that is actually sitting behind this is a Celestin who is sitting there, and he's speaking basic common.
Yep.
So he's trying to haul you over, like he catches your eye, but not because he's a Celestin, or what he's saying, because of what's behind him.
Yep. Awesome. So when I see that, I'm actually going to again, I'm not very good at negotiations or anything like that. So when I see him, I'm gonna kind of try not to make it obvious that I'm looking at the thing. I'm gonna walk in. I'm gonna be like, what kind of deals you got today? What do you got?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, friend. Well, you take a look at the table right here. We've got ourselves a nice brand new knife. Haven't been used once, just taken out of the sheath today for display purposes only. 100 credits right there. This right here, dice set, has won many a game of my good friend Paul. Paul's a good guy. He's a human. You'd like him. He's won a lot of stuff, made many, many credits, retired the dice, and allowed me to sell them with his luck still imbued in these things. Telling you, the dude never lost a roll. Over here, we got a stack of cards. Sabak, you play Sabak? You look like you play Sabak. I bet you play Sabak. This thing right here, 25 credits. Hey, pay me 30 and I'll toss in the dice with these things. And then, of course, we got some other, and he starts meandering about some other nonsense over there. Doesn't mention the thing behind him.
Of course. I'm like, these dice, they're lucky.
Some of the most lucky dice I have ever seen in my life. And I have witnessed the man win thousands of credits in the span of 2 hours.
How much? How much are the dice?
The dice themselves, ooh, see, these would be expensive for you, friend, though. Like I said, I throw them in with the deck of cards for 30, but dice alone, 10 credits.
10 credits, and they're lucky.
One of my greatest friends, and he was a human. You're a human. Great deal for you.
I put down the 10 credits, and I'm luck is one of those things. You have a heart. I need the luck.
I understand. We all do here on this planet. You know what I'm saying? And he takes the credits and plugs them into his data pad.
Yep. He's like, oh, nice. Hey, what's that back there?
Oh, what? And he looks behind him. Oh, that there? Oh, do you recognize that? Do you know what that is?
It looks like a portable jammer.
You have a good eye, sir. Worked in the field before. Maybe you know some people who used to work in the Empire. There are a lot of ex-soldiers, ex-stormtroopers that wander these areas looking for jobs. And bet you heard from one of them. They like to tell their stories about how they wiped out. No, clones are long gone.
I know.
Okay, gotcha. No, clones. How old are you? You look young. You don't look like you'd be alive long enough to see clones. No, stormtroopers. They're just humans like you. Anyway, stormtroopers like to tell stories. So if you've heard, do you have use for this thing? Selling it right now. And he reaches out and plops it on the table, shakes the whole table as he kind of slams it on the dice. Kind of the knife rather kind of slides back. The cards fall off, and he kind of gestures. He dusts it off a little bit, the little sand or dirt that's on it from Nar Shaddaa. And he's like, this thing right here works like a charm you wouldn't believe.
What condition is it in?
You can't tell. Can you tell just by looking at it, or do you have to make a roll for that?
Does it? I mean, I can roll a mechanics check or whatever you'd like, but I mean, it's imagine like you look at something. Does it look beat up or does it?
It looks well used.
Awesome.
It looks well used. Yes.
I'm gonna look the thing over and be like, does it work?
Works.
You said like a charm, but
works like brand new. Brand new.
I'm gonna like without asking. I'm just gonna like flick it on.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. You flick it on, and it does turn on.
I look at people around me to see if anybody starts acting differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Perception check, please.
Sure. Are you set?
I already said it, yep.
Okay.
Oh, advantage. Gotcha. Oh, did I put I'm sorry, I thought it was at 1. Try it. Re-roll. It's an easy one, not a normal one. Try again. There we go. That's better. You look around quickly, and there are a few people who seem to be, like, talking and looking at the data pads, and all of a sudden they're just like, they seem to be like confused, not sure what's going on.
Turn it off immediately.
Okay, yep. And he's like, so
how much?
400 credits for this sucker.
400 credits.
400 credits. This thing right here, you ain't supposed to have it.
I don't know. I'm feeling kind of lucky.
He looks at you with a little bit of a smile. What are you saying?
I'll play you some dice. If you win, I'll give you 500 credits. But if I win, 350. I said 350. Sorry, because it's 400 normally. I say 250.
Oh, okay. 300.
Okay.
Even 100 each way. Good. Let's do it. Let's roll some dice. Sure. Well, you could actually, if you wanted to, sorry, you can make a negotiation roll to keep him at 250 if you'd like.
No, my character is not really very pushy.
All right, so we're just gonna roll some dice here. They kind of like color, just the colored dice. Remember seeing in the prequels, Qui-Gon's dice? They're like just red and blue dice. That's all they are. Very boring dice.
Don't even know how that game works.
Basically, you say, all right, he's gonna have think of it like kind of like rainbow roll, like we did in the other one. First to a couple of... Yeah, exactly. All right. He says, my color's red, your color's blue. First to 4 gets the win.
Okay. And so what is it? Evens and odds, 2d6?
Yep.
Just because you roll 2 dice, right?
Yep, 2 dice. So, evens will be blue, which is your color. Odds will be red, which is my color.
Okay. Who rolls first?
He lets you roll first.
Okay. There we go. So you said what my color is what? Blue?
Your color's blue, his is red. So you
Okay,
roll
so
one, and he'll roll 2 dice now.
I'm sorry, red was evens, correct?
No, blue is evens, red is odds.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, my bad.
You said it, I forgot in 3 seconds.
2 odds, 3 red, 1 blue.
Okay, so that's bad.
That's not going your way.
No. It's very bad.
How would this make it more difficult? He's on a roll. I want a dark side point. And, yeah, dark side. He's going to dark side point. We'll go to what's going to end up happening for this is one of the dice is going to fall off the table. And sloppy dice doesn't count. You only get to roll 1d6. There it is. And he's like, oh, my friend, them's the rules. I'm sorry things went your way. That'll be 500 credits. Or went my way. That'll be 500 credits.
I put the 500 credits because, I imagine because it's that big of a chunk, I put like a 500 credit chip or whatever, however it works. down right next to the dice, and I'm gonna hoist up the pack on my shoulder and walk away. Don't say thank you, don't say goodbye. I walk away, leaving the credits next to the dice on the table.
Oh, all right, all right. He doesn't say anything.
Okay. And I walk away with my my thing. Now this is heavy. It's encumbrance is what, 4?
Yeah.
That is what I have left for encumbrance. So without penalties. So I've got this like heavy backpack on. I can move normally, but God, it's heavy.
It's heavy. No problem. After that, are you heading back to your room? Or do you just kind of spend the day out? Do you really matter?
I'm actually going to go and bring that to the ship and make sure I put it in like a strapped in, comfortable spot. But I just spend a little bit of time to make sure that I have the means to turn it on quickly if I need to. I'm also going to check, like, I don't know if it's a mechanics check or just, you figure it out. The battery, make sure it looks like it's going to function, make sure everything's good. Like, I want to make sure
you want to go over the pack itself and determine if it is in new, minor, moderate, etc., etc. Sure, that's going to be a mechanics check. And because you rolled from before, can you go ahead? Go ahead. You can make your mechanics check. You're welcome.
Danko? Did I have any advantage from anywhere? No, I did not. Okay, cool.
No.
I'm gonna save my light side point.
Okay. It works as new as you think as it could be.
Cool.
You can't tell what its specific condition is.
That's fine.
Not one more time without more.
As long as it continues to function, that's all that matters.
Yep.
Cool. Cool.
Okay. So you're gonna go to this TIE fighter. You want to give the TIE fighter an up and down as well?
I imagine I already did so with the mechanic, or I do so with the mechanic, just to kind of like.
You will do so with the mechanic in the morning before you leave.
I want to do it then. I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna get the thing stored in the TIE fighter for now. Leave it there.
Correct.
That's fine.
Correct.
The guards are there. They stay there. They basically, before you can go anywhere near the TIE fighter, they ask for your papers. They want to make sure, and when they see your name, they let you through. No problem.
Not a problem.
All right, and you store it into the TIE fighter, not an issue, and you make your way back into the nasty streets of Nar Shaddaa and crash in a dingy little room for the night. But it is on the top floor, nice and secure, and has 2 locks instead of 1.
Nice.
I got these hiccups that just won't go away. I apologize. Good lord.
But it's the same key for both locks. It's weird.
Yeah, yeah, that's really weird. Spend the night uneventfully throughout there. A little bit loud, but surprisingly a bit more quiet than it was on the Corellian Corvette that you came in with, and you get a rather nice night's sleep. In the morning, I imagine you wake up bright and early. You got a job to do, and you're not one to take your job laxly. And do you just head straight to the TIE fighter? Is that the goal?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I get up, he said he's going to take care of food and whatnot, so I ate dinner the night beforehand, ate breakfast that morning. I'll make sure I have some coffee with my breakfast. And honestly, if am I eating at his cantina?
You're welcome to. He said he was going to feed you, so you imagine that's where he was going to feed you.
I'm going to ask for a half glass of his of the blood.
Deveronian blood. Now, he is not there when you are fed. However, just the staff knows. And you get one, all in the house, all taken care of for you.
Yep, and it's like a half glass. I'm going to drink this thing in like 4 heavy swigs, but like spaced out, because I'm like really trying to get used to that bitter flavor, because like it's one of his favorites. So
yeah, absolutely. And you do so to the best you can. Yeah, you're trying anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then it turns out he just screws me over anyway, so who cares?
You actually see in there that morning, by the way, when you make your way in, you sit down, the bartender gets you what you ask for, completely on the house. Relatively quiet. People don't really come here for breakfast. But the bar is open 24/7. About halfway through your meal, the female Deveronian makes her way back in. And with her, a guard. And it's just something you notice, unless you're like literally keeping an eye on her and following her where she goes. She kind of walks by you and disappears into one of the back booths with the curtains.
I mean, again, because I don't need to like look her up again because I've already.
Yeah, you already did. You did your thing. You did your thing.
But like, if I can like catch her eye for a second, I totally would, just to be like, I see you. But then I leave it alone.
Yeah. She actually pays you no heed when she walks by you.
Awesome.
0.
So now I've been shut down entirely.
Oh, poor baby. Okay, cool. So you say nothing, and as you finish your food and your drink is when the bar starts to pick up a little bit of business, and you make your way to the starport. Making your way into the starport, he's still there. He's still there, and he's bugging somebody. That's not you, and he doesn't seem to pay attention to you, but he is bothering the hell out of somebody making their way out of the starport, trying to sell his $50 translator.
I was gonna say I would totally like hoist up the backpack, so it's like, you know, and then turn a shoulder and walk a bit.
Yeah, just like ignore him as best you can. And weird, he hasn't looked like he has changed clothes whatsoever. But you hear him, 50 credits, 50 credits. Oh, hang on, I'm on the watch. I can translate it to Huttese, and he like changes it to Huttese. And he says something, and you hear, you're not entirely sure if that was correctly translated because you don't speak Huttese. I don't think you do anyway.
I don't remember how languages work in this game and how many you can speak. We'll have to look that up afterwards.
Yeah, I forgot. We forgot to do that. That's fine. And he tries to hawk his wares. But as you make your way outside, almost all the ships, with the exception of the TIE Fighter, are different than yesterday's, which is not surprising to you whatsoever. And it's relatively expensive to keep your ship here for more than a day, for the most part. There are cheaper starports around, but this one in particular, is a little bit more expensive to keep your ship here because the security here is better than most other places, even if the security is still not that good. And when you make your way...
They actually do their job.
Exactly. As you make your way over to the TIE Fighter, there is a Deveronian man dressed in kind of like mechanics clothes, standing chatting with the other two Deveronian guards that are hanging out there. When one of them sees sight of you walking over, one of the guards steps forward and is like, papers. Hand them over. You're Kyle Dween. Car. I'm here to take care of this thing with you, and you want to go over everything, so let's make it quick and get you on your way. The Hutts don't like people to dilly-dally. I'm sure you know that.
I'm sure I'll make good time.
Okay, so you want to do a mechanics check with this guy to kind of go over just the basics of everything, as well as...
I'd like to make some small talk with them first, like as we're kind of like making our way in there to kind of like ask them what they did before I even do the mechanics check. So that being said, like what would that's not a charm, is it?
Well, you're just trying to talk to him, right?
Well, yeah, I'm just making small talk.
You're welcome to try and make small talk with him. I don't know if I'd call it a charm. But,
it might be because I'm trying to like be friendly with him.
Yeah. So yeah, I might as well make it a charm. Yeah, I don't think it would be coercion. It'd probably be charm because of presence.
Coercion's like scary people.
Yeah.
All right, want me to roll it?
Yep, go right ahead.
So
he's very short with you. Doesn't seem to care, and as you prod, his answers actually get shorter and shorter, and he seems to be getting more and more annoyed.
I'll take the one strain.
Yeah, and just take the strain, no problem. Okay. All right. So specifically, when you're making this check, what are you looking for? Just to make sure everything's in working order.
I just don't want you to throw black dice at me because I don't know where things are. The interface is strange and whatnot. I just want to be familiar with the vessel.
Okay.
In general, especially since it's already a flying time bomb. So
Yep, no problem. All right, this is going to be a 3 difficulty because it is a vehicle you're unfamiliar with, so you're getting a crash course immediately with that. And
it's a mechanics check
to just understand it.
Yeah.
No, it would be piloting space, I think, is more appropriate.
Because that's also about knowledge and stuff too of vessels.
Yeah. Mechanics would be more if you're going to the guts of the thing and trying to see what it's made of. So this is just like how quickly you absorb this. So it's going to be 3 dice because it's a ship you're unfamiliar with, you've never flown it before, and it's been heavily modified. So go for it. Make your roll. Yeah, no problem. The thing with TIE fighters is they're as simply designed as they are to pilot. They are very, very easy to understand. You get into once you plop yourself into the seat of this thing, which you're going from the top and you have to climb in, plop yourself in. It's very claustrophobic. There's not a lot of wiggle room, and especially with that backpack in there, you really have very, very, very little room. In front of you is just the glass, and then that's it. There's nowhere to sleep, and if you have to sleep, you're going to be sleeping in this chair, and that's all you're going to have. That's all you're going to have room to do. The levers and the buttons and whatnot is very straightforward. Where the difficulty comes in is how they integrated the hyperdrive. This thing is not meant to have a hyperdrive, so in no way is the hyperdrive really built into the actual console itself. Up above your left shoulder, there is a tiny little screen that you can grab and pull in front of you to plug in coordinates specifically for the hyperdrive. It is a separate, almost completely separate entity, not 100%. It still communicates with the main console a little bit, but it's something you actually pull in front of you, plug in, and then push to the side, and the hyperdrive will take care of it from there. Moreover, this thing can't go too long in hyperspace. He says it's more meant for short distances. The longer in hyperspace it is, the more likely this thing is going to get torn apart in hyperspace itself. They've made the jump to and from Tatooine plenty of times. They have no idea. They have no concern it's going to make it there. But it's one of those things. This is more of a short range kind of experiment. And yes, there are just wires fucking everywhere behind you, hanging out of the console itself. It just doesn't look safe, and it doesn't look like it was professionally done. It looks like somebody who just had an idea, did it without thinking too much.
With the size of this hyperdrive and the distance between here and there, when are they expecting me?
Let's take a look at
how long is the travel that my character would
Yeah,
do?
let me take a look. I'm sorry. Let me take a look at the map real quick.
Sure, and if it's something that I need to, like, I don't know if I have to, like, plug it into the astrogation to, like, figure it out, but this is something that my character would want to know.
Of course. I don't think Tatooine's far from Nar Shaddaa, if I remember correctly.
I think Tatooine's, like, on the rim of Huttese space, and Nar Shaddaa's, like, near the middle.
Yeah, so it's not too bad.
Actually, I'm going to grab my map.
Yeah, go ahead.
Star Wars Index. Where's my map? Star Wars Galaxy map. All right, where's Hutt space? Yeah, there's Hutt space. Let's zoom in a little. Here's Nar Shaddaa. And where's Tatooine? I think you're on, like, the tip, aren't you? Just the tip?
Just the tip.
Nope. Where is Tatooine again? I'm using, in case anybody's curious, swgalaxymap.com, all one word. In case anybody's curious about what kind of map that I'm using.
Tatooine is in the top right.
I'm not seeing it. Am I not zoomed in enough? Is that why? You said
it's in the
right.
Arcana sector, which is top right.
I'm not seeing it at the moment.
I'm actually not seeing Nar Shaddaa.
Oh, wait a second. You're saying top right, but yours is, I'm looking at galactic, you're looking at it sideways.
Oh, yeah, this is galactic, it would be the galactic south for me.
So that's what's confusing me, is you and I are looking at the maps different, because I'm looking at north being up. Now Shaddaa is, like, if you went to the center, so if you, like, turn the book so that, like, it looks like a Millennium Falcon, you know, flying forward, if you go to the just very center and slightly to your left.
Center of Hutt space?
Yep, and then look slightly to the left. That's where Nar Shaddaa and the other one will be.
I see Hutt space.
All right, I'm not finding Tatooine. Isn't there a search bar in this?
Okay, there's Nar Shaddaa, so you'd have to jump to Rorak. Oh, this is actually a hell of a fucking...
Search the galaxy. So I'm going to have to
search
for...
I thought Tatooine was in Hutt space. I think I'm incorrect. It's not. You'd have to jump to Rorak,
So I found Tatooine. Hold on one second. It is very, very far outside of Hutt space. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a long drive for you, buddy. But you're gonna make it. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah. So how long is that? Because that's I mean, it's across one of the main hyperspace lanes. So what I would need to do is go from Nar Shaddaa to Rorak down to Circumtor, and then more or less from there you can follow to Sivris, and then take that one down to Tatooine.
Yep, more or less. You go, like, out and around.
All right. So how long is this gonna take me, buddy?
I don't know. Probably like a week or two. I think is how is the distance I would use, time wise.
Sure. I don't have the rules in front of me.
The rules aren't on the map, surprisingly.
I'm just looking at one that shows the distances. So I'm gonna look up astrogation rules, because I actually have that leafed. Vehicles, combat actions, weapons. Where's my astrogation? Combat mods, vehicle. Nope, let's keep going back a little. Targeting, piloting, both. Astrogation, here we go, astrogation. Intellect. So, anytime the character wishes to program, astrogation governs their knowledge of the galactic geography. In the events of the unknown system, astrogation covers familiarity as well. The difficulty of the hyperspace jump is based upon the area being targeted and the distance being traveled. Travel to a nearby system along a well-established route is easy, and the difficulty increases based off the accuracy. See page 246 for additional information about hyperspace travel. Additional successes beyond those required to calculate a hyperspace jump may be used to better target the location. While Slinger reaches the target system without incident, extras might place the vessel directly into orbit around the target planet. Alternatively, they may use the extra successes to reduce time spent calculating when rushed. Advantages: as part of the check, are most commonly used to reduce time, or on extended journeys, they might use it to identify convenient stopovers en route where the vessel can resupply or conduct additional businesses. A triumph can be spent either to complete astrogation calculations in minimal amount of time or greatly reduce travel of time involved. Likewise, threats, and I think it's called, threats. Threats generate, or disadvantage, whatever they're called, generate used to decrease accuracy or increase time, and the other one's called threat. Can be spent the same way to greater magnitude. You get all that?
Sort of. I was also looking at distances and I couldn't find it, so.
I know I was easily able to discover this beforehand. Okay, so sublight travels, all right, astrogation. All right, within sector, hyperspace travel, within sector, 10 to 24 hours. Across the galaxy, 1 to 3 weeks. Between regions. So we're actually going several regions out. This is probably going to be the 1 to 3 weeks bit.
You would only go...
Because like you're looking at this, I mean, this is across the galaxy because you're going from the center of hut space, and this is several sectors. So I'm just going to count real quick. Across 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I don't think you can move diagonally with this thing.
Is sectors grids? Are you talking about the grids?
Correct.
Okay.
So it's like 6 sectors over.
So you're here, so you'd go... That's just a day. 1, I think you can move diagonally. 2, because I'm following the line that leads there. 3, you're moving 4 sectors. 1, 2, 3, 4 sectors if we count diagonals, and I think you would.
If you count the one that you started in, it's 5.
Yeah, if you count the one you started in. So that's what each sector is. How long?
I mean, it just says across a sector is 10 to 24 hours. Within a region, so like, hey, hut space is 10 to 72 hours, depending. Then between regions is 3 days to a week, and that's just regions.
So I would say...
So, I mean...
Maybe like a little over a week.
Sure.
A week to a little over a week is how long you're going to be in this horrendous, cramped, shitty, hot...
Well, I imagine you're going to have to do stopovers because you have to like...
Yeah, every little planet you're going to have little checkpoints that you're going to have to go through, and especially because you're going along a well-traveled trade route, so there will be stopovers.
I'll give you an opportunity to nerd for me. I don't know how these ships are powered.
Fuel?
Dilithium crystals?
No, that's Star Trek.
I know.
Oh, God.
But there's also like Kyber shards.
No, it's not Kyber shards.
Kyber shards are Eberron, but like Kyber crystals are Star Wars.
No, it's fuel. They use fuel. It's a type of fuel.
So how long can I travel before I have to refuel with
a TIE fighter and this modified, you probably need to refuel every couple of stops. But for the sake of not hitting your pocket...
Oh, consumables. TIE fighters can usually only last 2 days.
Yeah, but it's been modified. And he knows it's going to be... They've made this trip a bunch of times, so I'd say they at least give you the money to take care of consumables on every stop. You know what I mean?
Cool.
For the sake of being like, all right, we don't need to number crunch really fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's Star Wars. I'm not worried about it too much.
So you're going, you say over, it's like about 10 days? So like...
Yeah, I'd say about 10 days. Yeah. So every 2 days you can make a stop pretty easily.
Sure.
Not a problem.
So the whole, like, because it's 5 sectors, 2 days per sector?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
You know, you're not going straight. You know,
right. So we only got 30 minutes left somehow. Okay. So you're gonna pilot off of the planet, and that's gonna be a piloting planetary check to get off of it, correct?
Sure.
Wait, are you really? Yeah. You're really good at planetary space, right?
There's planetary.
I mean, space piloting space is what I meant.
Yeah, I have 3 skill points in space, which is against normal rules if you're not in this race.
Okay, gotcha. All right, it's gonna be pretty easy. Let's just get this done. You may make your pilot planetary to get off the planet.
Sure. I imagine that's easy, right?
Yep.
Get us that.
Yep.
Cool. So it's time to go.
Yep, not a problem. So you boot this thing up, and the undeniable whine of the TIE fighter kicks in as you boot this thing up, and all these little systems start gearing up, and you hear the beep of the hyperdrive computer flickering on behind you as well. And you kind of lift this thing, and the first thing you do right away is like, oh, this thing lifts up really easily. Like most ships is like a little bit of a give and away as the engines kind of lift it off and have to fight with the weight against gravity. But the TIE Fighter thing just is up. It's up and it's gone into the air faster than you even anticipated, even though you were like, I know these things are cheap and light, but damn, this thing is fucking, it feels cheap and it feels light.
Because it's so easy to fly off the planet, I'm going to take those two advantage and give myself a blue on my astrogation check to try to figure out where it is that I'm flying to.
Yep, absolutely. So as you kind of pick up speed, that like I said, that undeniable whine of the TIE Fighter gets louder and louder, and it kind of screams as you break atmosphere and you hit space. Once you hit space, you are going to get into orbit, and you're going to start plotting your astrogation, which is...
I'll apply the blue, because...
Yep, and it's easy as astrogation normally, right? That's what it was? So
let's see. So distances, 1 second. So it's 1 if you're, like, short travels or whatever. 1 second. Damaged. Quick calculations I'm not doing. Just lightly... Is the ship lightly damaged or heavily damaged? Do I have outdated, corrupt, or counterfeit navigation things? Anything like that?
No, you're good. Everything's kept up. So I think the first jump, you're going to go to Rorak. Rorak is going to be an easy roll.
Astrogation is usually easy. I'm just seeing if it's... Hold on. Conditions are really blah, blah, blah. Once a ship is... So 713 are modifiers. So yeah, it's usually easy unless... Okay.
All right, we'll just say you're gonna be making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hey, what class hyperdrive do I have? Because it's strapped onto a TIE Fighter.
It's like a shitty low class.
So just so you know, that doubles or triples the amount of time it takes to get there.
All right, well, you're gonna be in space for a little while. That's all. 1, 2. So we'll double it. 2 weeks. You'll be in space for 2 weeks.
So class
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're gonna need to make 8 astrogation checks all told to hit each jump.
Okay. Well, first one get the blue. The rest of them won't.
Okay.
All right. So go with it. Double success.
Okay.
Let's see. Just success, better target, the destination, planet. So reduce amount of time, I guess, which I already
time calculating, so it's fine. Yeah.
All right. Second astrogation.
Triumph.
Greatly reduced travel time.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring down. You probably cut it by a couple of days. You found a relatively clear hyper lane.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Reduce time.
Time's calculating.
4. So yep. This is reduced travel time.
You're probably gonna reduce it to a week at this point. So keep going. That was 4.
Yep.
Reduce travel time. Identify convenient stopovers or to resupply. Blah 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 blah.
Technically didn't succeed at this point. So I don't know if that.
We'll say that cuts off, like you saved a day or two, you got those day or two back. Like you got a little lost.
Gotcha. Cool. 6. Wait, did it roll? There we go.
There it is. You succeeded. And
try to get that time back. 7.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And 8.
All right. On 8. Wait, before we make the 8th roll.
So, because I had a tactic here.
Okay.
The reason why I was asking before... how long does it take to? And I forgot to say this because it took us so long to figure out the answer to that question.
Yeah, no problem.
For us to get there, I was going to ask the guy when are they? Because he seemed to based on this conversation, he seemed to know some stuff. When are they expecting this?
About 2 weeks.
Okay.
There's like a time frame he gives you. It's not like on this day, but between this day and this day is when they're expecting you.
So what I'm kind of hoping to do is get there. That's why I kept like reduce time. I want to get to like within the system, but not necessarily orbiting the planet. And this is kind of like important for like a better destination or whatever. I want to get within the system, not necessarily in orbit, as quickly as possible because I'm going to choose a different route.
Within what system?
The actual Tatooine system, like whatever the name of that star is.
So you're from your jump from Molivar to Tatooine itself. Are you saying you want to not go to Tatooine?
Going to Tatooine, but not the planet.
That's fine.
Within the solar system, but not like...
I get what you're saying. That's totally fine. Before that happens, as you're approaching and you're expecting you're going to be there and where you want to jump out, and probably half a day you'll be there. Before your computers start going nuts. They start beeping and red lights are flashing and there's something going off. And as you quickly pull up one of the computers, probably you were having a snack, listening to music or whatever it is you were doing. You pull the computers in front of you, start filing through these alerts, and it immediately is detecting an unexpected gravity well, and you are being lurched out of hyperspace.
I've played Elite Dangerous. I try to line up my flying towards the blue dot.
So easy. You're not being interdicted. It's different.
Yeah, no, I'm dodging this interdiction.
It's not an interdiction. Your computer is saying that there's like a a big body, a big planetoid or asteroid or something, and it's basically you're being yanked out of hyperspace a day early from where you are. And as hyperspace, the stars stop streaking and everything kind of snaps in, and the whir and the whine of the TIE fighter that you're piloting is audible. Your comms are going off immediately. As you see in front of you, there's nothing in front of you. Yeah, you snap out of hyperspace, think you're going to hit like an asteroid, and you look outside of the big open TIE fighter window, and you see nothing.
Okay.
And your communications light is starting to blink.
I'm kind of like looking around. I'm happy I didn't blow up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm immediately going to check my astrogation computer, see if it's still functioning. Immediately check before I grab that call. Immediately check and make sure that my hyperdrive is still functioning, even if it's not being allowed to fly at the moment.
Everything is still functioning.
Okay, cool.
You are still functioning, and you are still flying, but at like normal speed.
Okay.
You're not like tractor beamed in place.
I'm still not going to answer the call yet.
Okay.
I'm really good at astrogation math.
Okay.
I'm going to make an astrogation check to try to quickly, figure out what's going on, like how long it would, like try to plot my course to where I need to go.
Okay, so typically astrogation takes what, 15 minutes on a normal check?
I think it's 15 minutes, and I can do it in 7.5.
And you can do it in 7.5.
That's a long time for a phone call to be on hold.
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to roll and see if I can reduce that time.
All right, so, and you're doing it trying to do it faster, so wouldn't that make the difficulty go up?
Calculations into hyperspace under duress.
Yeah.
So we increase the difficulty to 2.
Okay. That's all I needed to know.
Okay.
Remember, you have a light side point.
I do know that.
Okay. You don't want to give it back?
I don't succeed.
No.
So eventually I'm sitting there and I'm like,
so you're plugging it in. That's fine. Don't worry. You're plugging it in. You have advantages, but you don't succeed, which is fine. Eventually, as you're like plugging it in, you notice the comm light goes off. It stops going off. Like there's just no more comm light blinking.
I say aloud, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
And as you finish that sentence, as the last of those letters slip off of your lips and you're going through the computers and systems, you hear the undeniable whine of TIE fighters that are not yours behind you.
Bad thing.
And you see 2 flank sides, and one kind of like they do like a little formation coming from both sides, and you hear, like I said, the TIE fighter noise, and they kind of like swirl around, and then they go off to the sides where you can't see them anymore. What do you do? Actually, out of curiosity.
Immediately, I quickly check my scanners to see if there was 2 or if there were more.
Yep, absolutely. So you flip on your scanners, and you're like, again, moving things around because it's so fucking cramped in here. And you flip it open, and you actually see the 2 blinking dots that you clearly were with the TIE fighters around, and 1 blinking further back behind your sight. So there are 3 dots. 2 you assume of what it is. Hear the sounds in space? Listen, it's Star Wars, man. There are noises in space in Star Wars.
Yeah, come on. You've seen the movie.
Yeah. Star Wars is not sci-fi. It's fantasy.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, you, so if you ever have any like rules lawyering about real science doesn't apply to fantasy, man. All right. So, you say there's just the 2 of them, right? That are whipping around?
Yes. The 2 that are moving.
Okay. It's one of those things where I'm like, I really wish I took a piss at the last stop off. Get the engines on, and I'm kind of like getting things prepared for flying. And then I'm actually gonna like open like a frequency out to them, like let them know that I'm willing to be hailed, sort of a thing.
Okay. So you flip it on. Within a second of you flipping on communications, the call is picked up. And you just hear this deep masculine voice come over the intercom itself. Kyle Dween, you are hereby under arrest from under the Empire, the Imperial rule. You are wanted back on Corellia for crimes and treason against the Empire itself.
I'm sorry. Are you saying that the Empire is still existing and they're trying to arrest somebody named Kyle?
We will not tell you again, Kyle. Just turn off your engines and submit yourself to the rule of Imperial law.
Wait, so the Empire still exists? I say as like I'm starting to like move the thing forward, get ready to like a little bit. I'm getting ready to full throttle.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Like, beep beep beep.
Yeah. You say that out loud, and all of a sudden the comm system actually goes off. Like it shuts off. All right, so full throttle.
Difficulty hard, which is
okay.
3, and it literally just jumps me up in speed. I'm gonna check the rolls for you really quickly.
Because so they're within like medium range of you right now.
Take a full throttle action. Make a hard piloting check to increase a vehicle's top speed by 1 for a number of rounds equal to cunning. So my cunning is I think 2. So I'm just gonna like just blast out of there as quick as I can.
Okay.
I just need to check one other thing. Combat reference, star sheet, cheap sheet. Look at this really quickly. So there is a check called, I don't know if you're looking at these cheat sheets yourself. It's called Punch It. So, accelerate to maximum, suffering 1 system strain per point.
Okay.
My ship has a system strain of...
I like it. Admiral Thronk.
8.
Has 8. Okay, so I'm going to punch it. That's just a maneuver that I can do.
So what we see is you being like, well, the Empire, it still exists, and the blink stops, the comm goes dead, and Kyle and wide-eyed just like, nope, and just pushes the lever forward. It's like, I'm going.
Okay, I'm gonna roll it. Do you have difficulty 3 set?
It is already set. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna roll this one raw.
All right. Holy shit! But you take 4 strain.
Okay, so this is where it gets a little funky. So because of the fact that the strain is done as part of a piloting check, I think if I choose to take the strain, I take that strain as a my ship and I both have to share the strain.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's how, like we equally take the strain. As I think how it goes is later on. No, the ship takes the strain. That's right. But because I think there's something later on, but you can actually, as a pilot, choose to take the strain for the ship.
You might be able to talent into that or something. I'm just looking for your ship. What was the page I told you to memorize?
It is 257.
Nope, I was off by 1.
That quadruple success is one of those like, yeah, I'm going to jump from 0 to 5 speed. You know, just like
Because with normal speed is what? Oh, sorry, 0 to 6 speed for a TIE fighter.
And it's
I increased my speed by 1.
Its strain threshold is 8. It looks like. SS threshold.
Correct, which is why I've already taken 1 strain.
Okay,
I'm good. You know, so I'm going to jump from 0 to 6 speed, which is faster than they can go.
All right. So how much strain have you put this thing on it total?
1.
Oh,
from punching it, not from punching it, from flooring it like the.
But did you take 4 strain from that?
No, I don't think so.
Isn't each thing count as 1 strain?
Oh, that's a lot of fucking strain then. If that's the case.
I think each threat is a strain.
Accelerate to maximum speed, suffering 1 system strain per point. Oh. So yeah, I'm gonna have to. Wow,
so you do it.
I would take 6 strain. Wait, no, I would take 6 strain.
So you'd still have 2 strain left over. But you immediately jump from medium to like...
I don't want to do that then. Shit. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
So...
This is why we do episode 0, by the way.
Of course.
But the idea of your fucking TIE fighter coming apart at the seams and the bolts, like people are saying, are shaking because you just were like, boom, and just like decided to use this thing.
I know. It does sound sexy. Should I do it? Should I take the 6 strain to do this? Problem is I have like no strain left for anything else.
So this is immediately going to go from 0 speed to 6 speed, you said?
Yeah, 0 to 6. Just...
And each speed counts as how far along in the track. So I would imagine that jump you from, because you're at medium range from these things right now. I would assume that would immediately in 1 turn put you at extreme range instantly.
Sure.
Chad is like full power. Just go. Just don't get hit.
You know what? Doing it. That's why I'm a pilot. Boom! Worst case scenario, I bring it to Celestin next session because this one died. So I'm not taking the threat as strain. I'm allowing you to. I'm spending 2 threat to give them a blue die on their check against me.
Okay.
So so there's 2 of them. I'm giving each one of them a blue die to try to catch up to me.
Okay, gotcha. So refresh my memory how chasing works then.
So there's actually, if you go back to that Starship cheat sheet that you have on Roll20.
Let me go back to that right
there,
now.
I'm good. There's stay on target. So if you go down to actions,
Starship cheat sheet 1 or 2?
1.
Okay.
So there's like where is it? Gain the advantage, plot course, co-pilot, boost shields, damage control, those kind of things. So there's evasive maneuvers, avoid.
So you actually yeah. So you went from 0 to 6 speed, right?
Yeah.
So you can move in 1 maneuver 2 ranges. So you did go from medium to extreme. That's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I guessed correctly because it was a complete guess.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing? Where's the? I'm sorry. Point me out where the catching up to somebody is.
I'm trying to find that because I know there's rules for it in here. So I'm just trying to find it. 1 second. So this is how you spend like threats and shit like that. So that's not what I want. I'm gonna get rid of this one. It's in here. Oh God, where is it? There's like a way to like counter rolls each other.
It's Nareem's sheet, PogChamp, somebody said?
I have no idea. Outmaneuver an enemy vehicle. So at the end of the target cannot gain the benefit. Penalties, evasive maneuvers, co-pilot, manual repairs, damage control, boost shields. God, what is it? There's like a way to do it. Move within close range, speed 6, move within close range, 1 maneuver and change. Oh, 1 maneuver. Oh, dude, speeds 5 and 6. Because I have 2 maneuvers. One of my maneuvers was to go from
0 to 6.
And then my other maneuver was moving the 2 ranges. So
how would theirs work then? If would they could go? Can they go to 0 to 5 in 1 turn?
If they punch it, but they weren't at 0, were they? They were probably at like a 2 or something as they were flying back.
Yeah. So it's going from a speed 2 to like going from speed 1 to speed 2. Is that a maneuver speed? I'm assuming like a maneuver turn.
So you have 2 maneuvers around, unless there's something stopping you. You have 2 maneuvers around. So you have a maneuver and an action. You can spend your action to do a maneuver, and there are ways to get additional maneuvers by like spending advantages and stuff like that. I sadly didn't get any. So what you could do is maneuver 1, go from speed 2 to speed 3. Maneuver 2, go from speed 3 to speed 4.
Okay, each maneuver is 1 up on the speed chart. That's what I was just trying to figure it out.
Correct.
So
I just couldn't do that because I went 1 maneuver, punch it, other maneuver, fly. You know.
Gotcha. So they'd have to spend their turns upping their speed, but not moving
Correct.
within ranges. Okay. That makes more sense to me. Fuck. All right, so they're at extreme range now.
It's even fair to say that they were sitting at speed 3 because that's like 2 points from their max.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. They don't have to go too far.
I just don't. I swear, and I don't know if anybody was saying it in here. Yeah, I swear there was rules for like chases.
I thought so too, but again, the book is just kind of a mess when it comes to like where rules are.
Yeah, it's really annoying. I'm gonna try to find it over here.
Yeah. All right. Do you want a second? I can go to the bathroom.
Sorry, everybody. Go to what?
I can go pee.
Oh, go pee.
All right, I'll be right back, guys.
Sorry, everybody. I'm just.
It annoys me because I'm pretty sure there's rules for chase scenes. I know there is in Stars Without Number, and I'm pretty sure there is in this too. But it could be like mixing the 2 up. So again, I do apologize. 2 more spaceships race. So whenever 2 or more spaceships race, a competitive piloting space check determines the results. Chases, whether they're through asteroid belts, within crowded battlefields, or skirting the edge of the gravimetric instability, are resolved with opposed piloting space checks. During a space conflict, pilots may often jockey for position to determine which shields face. Okay, cool. The difficulty of piloting space check may be. So extra piloting allow the characters to gain insight from the situation. Alternatively, generating advantages can reveal vulnerabilities in the opponent's piloting or give you a benefit later on in combat rounds. And spending triumphs can be used so the character take additional maneuver action. That's awesome. Additional maneuvers is always useful. Okay, cool. So it's going to be a opposed piloting check. I just got to remember how opposed checks work. So please give me a second while I try to navigate this book.
No, why am I going this way? Let's go the other way. Let's see if there's a. I think there's a. What you call this book? Index. Because I hate books that don't have indexes. Good, there is. There is. So let's say look for O for pose. Of course not pose. Let's go to skill. Skills, career, combat, general. That's not. Page 241. Thank you, Plex. I'll check that out really quickly. The Chase. Oh, here we go. It's called The Chase. There are some chases in starships or vehicle combat when two or more characters want to enact a chase. That's funny. Oh, cases for chase. In this case, the standard rules for combat can be modified slightly to represent this. The most important thing to remember in a chase is that there's a great deal of action going on to narrative nature. Skill checks can and will resolve the outcome of the chase, but the action during the chase is mostly narrative, therefore up to the GM and players to describe. To resolve a chase, the GM first should determine how far away the two vehicles start from one another. If the chase consists of two ground vehicles, such as speeder bikes or land speeders, the GM might want to use a personal scale range bands. If, on the other hand, the chase for two airspeeder starfighters or capital ships, he should probably use the planetary scale range bands. Once he determined the starting distance, the chase and pursuer should make a competitive pilot check, with the type of piloting check being dependent on the vehicles being used. The difficulty of the check depends on the circumstances of the chase. The pursuits can be clear space with no terrain and a simple check. That's nice. It's literally a simple check as you don't roll. Sorry, there's no difficulty. Sorry. It's just against each other. Conversely, if the terrain is actually a factor, then the difficulty should be set using the rules found on page 240. And there's like navigation. It's all that stuff over there. Cool. Like navigation hazards and whatnot. So it's just more or less adding extra purple dice and whatnot. Or upgrading to red dice or whatever. Once both parties have made their check, compare total successes as every competitive check. The pursuer wins. He closes a distance between him and his prey on one band. If the chased wins, he opens distance between him and the pursuer within one range band. In addition, if the winner is traveling faster than the loser, he opens or closes the distance by an additional number of range bands equal to the difference in relative speed. That's awesome. It's up to the GM for at what point the chase resolves, but in general, it should end if the pursuer is able to close the gap so that they're engaged or close range with his prey, or if the chase is able to open the distance to beyond extreme ranges, which means theoretically, I could actually end this in one round. So I think Mathis meant to say they were engaged or short range, and now it's a little bit further.
I guess it's like, what is the distance of
rules at the time? Because obviously they weren't like, we're going to hang way the fuck back with short range attacks. Mathis, page 241. Plexus.
I guess the question is like, what distance is engaged considered?
On a planetary scale?
No, on space.
Yeah, planetary scale.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like on
as opposed to personal scale.
Yeah.
So engaged really fucking far, buddy. Because you have like computer targeting systems with lasers that, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's, hey, my ship touches yours with engaged.
Okay,
like,
so
dogfights are engaged, and dogfights don't necessarily have to fly. They can still have they can have kilometers between each other theoretically, right?
So then they were probably considered. See, in my mind, I'm like, medium. It's not that far, but I'm thinking more planetary, like
so
on a planet.
Why don't we look at the scales? I'm going to look at the page for scale to give you a bit more narrative, because it's like it's not set in stone.
Yeah.
So I'm going to the index for scale.
Well, I assume the range of a TIE fighter is engaged, right?
You have to look at the weapons for that.
I'm popping over there right now.
If anybody knows where scale is, hold on. You say it was not Plex. I saw a ping, Plex saying, yeah, Derek 241. Oh, Mem also said 241.
The range on their weapons is close.
Sorry, Mem. Go ahead.
The range on the weapons is close, with firing arc only forward in front of them.
So close and engaged are the same thing. So I'm pretty sure close.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that might be right. You might be right.
I'm trying to find scale. Hold on. I'm trying to find scale before I put my foot in my mouth. Let me, I suppose. quick Google search. What is it?
Book, I would just ask you one thing. Put everything in that's relevant to space shit in the same damn chapter or something. Keep them close.
Or
Close range.
throw it in the index.
Close range in planetary scale is slightly further than extreme range in a personal scale. That is what they say. And can cover everything
so
from
big.
And can cover everything from a few dozen meters up to several kilometers in distance between
Yeah,
two
so as I was
points.
saying, a few kilometers. There you go.
This
Cool.
might seem like a great deal of space, but most vehicles can cover this distance in several minutes at worst, and microseconds at best.
Yep. Okay, cool.
All right, so they were. You went from close engaged to medium. We'll say you're medium distance from them.
Okay,
You
that's
jumped-
fair.
You jumped
that's
two.
legit. So the way this goes moving forward, are we
Okay.
in open space?
Yes, you are in open space.
We are making, we are raw dogging this. We are making naked, opposed pilot checks. So there is no rules here for like aiding one another. So I imagine the way it's going to kind of work is one of two things. One, I roll my pilot check and they make their own pilot checks. We oppose each other. Or I roll my pilot check, you roll one pilot check because they're counting as minions.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, there's going to be 2 pilot checks, but for the third ship that you haven't seen because it's behind you.
That's
So
fine.
The 2 TIE fighters and then the one behind.
That's fine.
Okay.
But
All right.
I'm super fast. So the cool thing is because my speed is greater than theirs, I'm assuming they were sitting at 3, so they're going to be able to in one turn bring themselves up to 5. Because my speed is greater than theirs, I'll actually be able to go extra bands, which is nice.
Okay.
Cool. So I guess what we're doing then is they're increasing their speed, and then we're doing opposed pilot checks.
That is correct.
Now, reminder, because I rolled so many threats, I gave those two, or at least whoever's piloting against me, each a blue die. Okay?
Correct.
So I'm going to roll my piloting check first to set the DC.
Yep, I'm just making these guys like I'm making an NPC character real quick for pilots.
Remember, there's no purple die unless
Correct.
there's something additional fucking with us.
Okay, hang on. Let me remove your purple die. Okay, you're good.
I was letting you set up your NPC before I started the action.
I'm good. I think he's good as he is.
Okay, cool. I'm not going to use my light side point yet.
Okay.
I'm going to hold on to it, and I'm going to go my piloting check. Here we go.
Here we go. This is what you're good at, man.
Ah!
No, that's good. You sucsucceeded. But now
I'm
they
all
make.
fucking garbage.
All right, now they up their speed and make a piloting check, right?
They up their speed effectively last turn, so this is the new turn. Right?
Gotcha.
So,
they just make a
for the record, so assuming I succeed, because I'm at medium range, if I succeed, I can go not just to long range, but extreme range because my speed is higher than theirs.
By 1, right? Yeah.
By 1, correct.
Okay. So they make I'm making 2 piloting checks then, correct? Correct. So
Correct.
1 for the 2 TIE fighters, and they get 1 blue die added to it for your last thing.
So one, I can spend 1 for adding 1 to the next person. Notice an important or ongoing conflict, such as a fatal flaw in the enemy's ship or a weak point. So,
So if they roll the same as you, they keep up with you?
correct. If they roll exactly the same as me, which is hilarious because it's only that blue die that did that,
Yep.
that mother effer. Yeah, there's no getaway. They keep perfectly with me. For the record, my blue die, I'm going to use, my advantage that I rolled, I'm going to use that to, because I don't think you can build advantage. I don't think they stack. I'm going to use that to notice a flaw of theirs. Okay.
Okay.
And you said you're making 2 checks. Were you going to roll the second one?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the max speed of this particular ship.
If it's a bigger ship, it's not as high. Most
what I'm
things can hit
figuring.
5.
I'm just looking at where I can't find speed again for some reason.
Speed is like
Speed
a
is
little box.
okay. His speed is 3, so he's not gonna be able to keep up. I don't think.
No, not at all. He's going to require them to like slow down my engines.
Okay, cool. So it goes to you now.
Okay.
Let me just remove that. Okay.
All right. Cool. So that is going to be my turn. Awesome.
Wait, are you within short range though?
No. Remember, we went from
No.
engaged to
To
medium
medium,
range,
right? Gotcha.
and then no successes, so I'm still at medium range from them.
Okay.
So here we go, rolling again.
Holy shit.
Oh my god. Oh.
So what does that
Jesus
put you?
Christ. Okay. All right. God. Well, one, because I succeeded, I can
Yes.
go 2 ranges out because
That puts you at extreme.
Yep, and that's the last round until I roll again to like
Astrogate?
no, last round until I roll again to have my full throttle, my enhanced speed. So let's see. Triumph grants an additional maneuver. What I'm actually going to do with that additional maneuver is I actually want to full throttle again to make sure that I maintain my speed. And with my advantages, I'm going to give myself because with 2 you can do this. I'm going to give myself a blue die. So can you give me a hard difficulty, sir? Give myself a blue die against this.
All right, cool. So if you take strain here, it goes to your ship, right?
I'm not going to take strain. It doesn't. I'm not taking strain for this.
I thought full throttle gave you strain.
No, full throttle is a separate ability that only pilots have.
Okay, good. 3 difficulties set.
You're thinking of punch it.
Yeah,
ready, set, go.
1 success and a bunch of advantages.
Awesome. And so I'm maintaining my height and speed. All those advantages. Just give me 1 second. I don't think I can really spend those yet. 3 advantages: ignore stellar when dealing with an opposed vehicle or ship. Have the attacking deal if piloting a ship. Perform 1 free pilot-only maneuver, provided it doesn't exceed the pilot-only maneuvers. There is no way to get additional. Like there's like a maximum amount of maneuvers that you can do even when you get free extra ones. So I can't do that.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna give myself a blue die for the next roll.
All right. So they make a roll now, or you have to make 1 more successful pilot check to get beyond extreme range?
So I succeeded ×4. They have to beat that.
Oh,
my next thing was just to increase my speed so I can
Gotcha.
continue. Yep, go ahead.
So they make a roll, but it's highly unlikely. Gotcha.
So
No.
I beat their successes by 3, which means that I went from medium range to long, and because of my speed, extreme range.
Okay.
Okay. And I have 2 more rounds of that higher speed.
Okay, got it.
I'm sorry this is like so me narrating to you.
Well, it's the rules are confusing because it says the chase ends when you get beyond extreme range.
Which I'm at extreme range now.
But the next pilot you're considered beyond if they don't keep up.
Correct.
And then it's you're out of their scanning or whatever range.
Correct.
Again, episode 0, guys. We're fucking working out the kinks again. Okay, cool. So then it goes to you.
Yeah, so what it is he has right on there right now, and he can turn it off. And actually, Mathis, it might not be a bad idea. Give me 1 second to tell you how to turn that off. There's a way to turn off that setting so you can see the advice.
Oh, okay.
You see that advice thing?
Where? I wonder what tab.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to remember.
I mean, it's something we can work on for the next episode. We don't have to necessarily do it right now.
Sure. Actually, I think I remember how to do it, though. It's, sorry. I think it's under die pool. And then there's something under here that turns off. Maybe it's under settings. Skill suggestions. So Whisper GM, you turn that to none. Or show suggestion button. There you go. So I think that's it.
Enable combat suggestions, enable general suggestions. You want those as off?
So you would you leave those as yes, but you have the skill suggestion display as show suggestion button.
Gotcha.
And you'll see how this plays out in 2 seconds when you roll your piloting check to oppose mine.
Okay, go right ahead.
Oh, you already did. Did you roll your second pilot's check or no?
I did. Remember, you beat me by 3, so it's on you.
Gotcha. All right, so I'm doing my pilot check. Is the purple turned off? Yes.
Yep, it's off.
And I gave myself a blue die because I'm a douche. Here we go. Okay, so that's weird because it still showed it, which is a little annoying. But that's okay. So more or less, I'm going to get the flip out of flop. I'm going to spend that triumph to give myself a free maneuver or whatever. I'm actually going to upgrade. I want to like upgrade my what's it called check, my astrogation check to get out of here. I want to give myself a blue die and to upgrade my astrogation check to get out of here. Can I do that? If you have to roll your check first, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, sure.
Ooh,
3 successes.
it's matched. Oh, wait, hold on. But there's a triumph too. Hold on. 1, 2. No, the triumph's counted.
Yeah, the triumph's counted on yours. He's still in extreme range.
Oh,
Wait, that was his maneuver. Can he fire at you from extreme range? I think he can, but it's like a 4 difficulty die to hit you. Anyway,
I think it's supposed to. The chase ends when we get to engaged. So
good. It's up to you. So you're still in extreme. You're not beyond extreme yet.
Oh shit! So what am I going to use my triumph for then?
How many more turns are you in higher speed than they are?
One more. So this one and the next one is what I kind of like paid for. I'm going to upgrade my next piloting check then.
Okay.
And give myself a blue die for my piloting.
Are you
check.
upgrading with a light side point?
I'm upgrading with my triumph.
Oh, okay, got you.
And with my advantages, giving myself a blue die.
Give an additional maneuver is what the triumph says it can do. Can it do more than that?
If you actually open up the star cheat sheet 2.
Oh, okay, then sure, that works for me.
Yep,
that's all I need. All right, go ahead and roll away.
This is gonna be an obnoxiously good roll.
Hopefully.
1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six rolls.
Beat those rolls.
Not gonna happen, but we will try. All right, here he goes. Watch out, everybody. No, that's that. There you go.
0 successes. Okay, so now that I broke it, I'm of course so my speed reduced down a bit, but I've like effectively got away, right? Like, so in the future, for everybody, for Mathis and myself, we were kind of like fiddling with the rules. In the future, what you really need to do is you need to describe the.
Yeah. But we're
supposed to describe it and. Head, Mike.
No, I was just saying, just the issue right now is just like trying to figure out how it's working out and like how the rules are working. So what did you use? What skill did you use the second time around? Because you used full throttle the first one, right?
Okay, so you're thinking of Punch It, right?
I don't see. That's what I'm looking. Where's Punch It under? Is that just from your
cheat sheet? Has Punch It.
That's what I keep getting.
And that's what causes system strain. And full throttle is a pilot ability.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's I need this cheat sheet open and never to close.
So what I do is currently I have my character sheet, my cheat sheet, and my cheat sheet number 2 opens. But if you double click it at the top bar, it shrinks it for you.
Yeah.
So it's on your screen but not in your way. And then I usually do that when the NPC rolls and but I like separate them. So like cheat sheets in this part, this here, so organized.
Right. Okay.
Usually pre-stream, I'll have it all set
Really,
up.
all that happened within the matter of a few seconds. It wasn't like minutes of piloting. It was just all of a sudden, the comm went off and you thought it was danger. You immediately pushed the lever forward and your TIE fighter just screamed and jumped as fast as possible. The thing shook. You heard shit loosen. The computers were going flickering on and off a little bit as you kind of push this thing beyond anything it's meant to do, even though you've already been doing that with the hyperdrive for a long amount of time. And you can see them on the radar getting further and further and further back, and they keep up with you for a little longer than you expect them to, until eventually whoop, blimp off. And yeah, exactly. You're pressing buttons, and right as you go back down to top speed after going down from the one extra top that you normally could, if the TIE fighter could cry, it would. Instead, it's really hot in here, and nothing sounds good.
Yeah.
And this thing still has a hyperspace jump to make.
Yep. I'm worried about that, but I'm going to keep it on max speed.
Okay.
Like I'm going to check the scanner seemed like it's still open space from here.
From what it seems, yep.
Leave it on max speed, which is 5. Just try to maintain that distance in case they choose to pursue. Those are generally short range things. And then I'm going to try to make a hyperspace check, which is there's system strain, but there's not damage. Am I technically under duress right now, or no?
I think your character would be considered under duress right now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a 2.
Okay, cool. It's a 2, and
because you're basically trying to maintain this thing at top speed while looking at your radar, while also trying to plug it in. You're trying to do a one-man show of keeping safe. You're under duress.
I was gonna say, would you apply a black die because if everything's overheated and whatnot? But I negate it.
Yeah, I'll say I could throw in a black die, but you're good. Don't worry, it's in there.
I'm good.
The black die's in there. It's just not gonna show up.
Yay! All right, cool. So I'm going to make my roll. I'm not modifying it in any way because need to hold that light side point.
And this is what, 15 minutes or so?
Oh! 7.5 minutes for me.
7.5 minutes of plotting, but you don't succeed. Which, how does that work again? Let's go to astrogation.
That's good. That's a good point.
Like,
I was afraid that means to catch back up to me.
That's what I'm thinking, but I want to make sure.
Restart it with, like, at extreme range.
Page 104. Astrogation.
For the record, everybody, what's going to kind of happen is Mike is the storyteller of this game. He needs to control so much stuff. I'm going to take the full responsibility of knowing all the piloting rules like the back of my hands since I'm the pilot. And so like this kind of stuff in the future could be like
streamlined. And the more we play, the more we're going to,
of course,
know it basically. So likewise, threats rolled decrease the accuracy and increase the travel time of the hyperspace jump. But it doesn't say anything about not rolling any successes, which is infuriating.
It probably just means I don't successfully.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
It's not like you succeed, but you rolled a threat. In which case, then it's like, oh, you succeed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you didn't roll despair.
Yeah.
I just wish they would give clear information as to what happens, because they only give examples of if you succeed and roll a threat.
It's probably like it fails.
So annoying.
You can't make a jump. It's just straight up. You can't jump yet.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So basically, all right. So in my mind, what ends up happening is that as you're plugging in everything into the astrogation, the computer starts flickering on and off. It's still overheating. The TIE fighter is still weak, and as you're trying to finish it up, the thing shuts down and hard reboots on its own, and you need to do it again. But this time, as you're doing it, you're gonna have that threat kind of carry over, and basically, the time you spend in hyperspace is gonna be a little longer and a little less accurate. Cool. That's about it. So, and you're still maintaining top speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because you failed. No, I'll keep it at one black.
Well, not top speed anymore. Now I'm just
at 5.
Well,
right?
I suppose technically I am maintaining top speed because there's no matter to slow me down.
I'm saying you're still at
perpetual motion.
5 speed technically.
Just not thrusted or just like careening through space at speed 5.
All right, you may because you re-rolled blah blah blah. Well, I could also do the threat something else instead, but I'll keep it as it is. Go ahead, make your roll.
Oh god, so I was like, then as it reboots, it has updates to install.
Windows is updating. Please just wait.
Or worse, Apple updates take hours. All right, so you say make the roll again?
Yep, you're welcome to make that roll a second time.
But am I rolling against the difficulty 2?
It's still difficulty 2. You're still under duress.
That was what you had just said with the under duress. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Rolling it.
1 success and an advantage, so you succeed.
And I try to reduce that time to still.
I know, it basically cancels out the threat you generated on the last roll, which is good. The thing's like ready to hard reboot on you again. You just give it a swift slap upside the side of the monitor, and it works well enough. You finally plug it in, and the stars streak in front of you, and the undeniable snap of hyperspace hits, and your TIE fighter is back.
Oh god, I gotta piss! I imagine I literally get up and start scrambling and grabbing for the nearest Snapple bottle. Mm-hmm. And like, she's like, oh god. Oh jeez.
You hit hyperspace after a bit of trouble within an interesting encounter with the remnants of what you thought was a dead empire at this point. I imagine Kyle is freaking out, stressed, a little worried. But he doesn't have much time to be stressed before he realizes that he's not being pulled out of hyperspace, but the TIE Fighter's computers themselves are just not holding up all that well right now. You pushed it beyond limits it was meant to, and it was already tinkered with to the point where it wasn't supposed to be. And you may or may not know that that the durability of this thing might be a little lower than a stock TIE Fighter. But you're in hyperspace and you're safe for now. Eventually, you snap out of hyperspace, spinning.
Lovely.
The stars stop. You're out of hyperspace just before you thought you were supposed to be, a little early, but you still see Tatooine. But the TIE Fighter itself is spinning uncontrollably. As you pull the hyperspace monitor in front of you to take a look, it's giving error messages left, right, and center. The computer is just like scrolling by at a speed you can't keep up. And as far as you're concerned, maybe the hyperdrive is just dead right now. And the fact that you got lurched out so quickly indicates that, and the fact that you're spinning indicates that. You keep seeing the planet. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Remember, I didn't want to go straight to Tatooine. I wanted to stick on the outer part of the
system.
Yeah.
So you just see
the next planet out or whatever it is.
Gotcha. It's a Geonosis, I think, is the next planet out. Which is hilarious.
Yeah. So careening around Geonosis.
You just spin.
So there's two things I want to do. First, I would need to stabilize myself. The system's working well enough. I can pilot to stabilize myself.
Yep, you're gonna need to make a pilot to stabilize yourself. It's 2 black die and 2 purple die with how fucked up the ship is right now.
Sure, I will roll against those. Whew.
You put 6 strain on this thing, right?
6 out of 8's correct, and I'm about to take care of that.
Okay. What you perceived as 8.
Oh, what I perceived as 8, correct.
Correct.
So let's even assume it's 6. That's fine. I already know what I have to do against that one.
Okay.
So I'm actually gonna, since I kind of like piloted and got itself situated, I don't think I can work really with one. I can't really work with one advantage at the moment. So once I get it stabilized and like not careening at anything,
right.
I actually want to. It's under the regular ship cheat sheet. It's damage control. So this is. I think this is technically a. Damage. I'm not sure what skill this is. I'm not sure if it's a piloting.
Damage control.
Ship cheat sheet. Actions.
Oh shit.
Yep. Actions.
I put all these damn things up there and I can't remember.
Mike, that was like a year ago.
Wait, I'm on the Starship.
We started Star Wars January of last year.
Oh, did we really? Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm under the Starship cheat sheet and I'm not seeing it. Damage
control. It's actions. So the second group.
Yeah.
Second column. Second down.
Oh, yep. I'm just blind.
So it says vehicle. So it's variable mechanics. So it's actually a mechanics check. Oh, okay. It is telling us what the different checks are. So it is a mechanics check. So let's assume that it's less than. So let's assume the threshold is 6 or greater.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2 die.
Okay.
If the threshold is 5 or less, which is how did I not die yet? Then it's a difficulty 3. I'm gonna roll a mechanics check.
It is okay. Let me set the difficulty up for you, specifically.
Okay.
It is actually going to be a 2.
You don't always have to tell me. You know what I mean?
I'm just gonna give you the reasoning I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yep,
so
please.
2 difficulty die for the actual what this thing can actually take, but 1 black die as well to be thrown onto that for how the hyperdrive has kind of fucked itself, more or less.
I'm scared. But I still...
You have a light side point.
I still don't want to use that light side point because I know... I've had a specific point in mind where I know it's important.
Okay.
So I'm going to hold it for that. All right, I'm rolling.
I'm ready.
I didn't succeed.
You did not succeed, but you did not fail?
Do anything bad. Yeah.
So you make no progress. You quickly reach for your tools that are behind you, or at this point, the tools are probably everywhere out of your bag for how crazy that your ship is spinning out of control. You grab what you can. You're trying desperately to fix things up. Life support's still on. The ship is still moving, but lights and shit are still blinking, and nothing seems to be any better than it was a few minutes ago.
Cool. I'm just going to try again because technically you can just...
Yeah, you can just give it another shot.
Nothing bad happens?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I really should use light side point, but I'm not going to. Okay, I'm going to try again. I want to use, because advantages don't stack, because I have 2 advantages that were sitting there doing nothing, and I would have given myself a blue die because that's 2, but I don't think they stack from round to round. You know what I mean?
No, they go just to the next turn and that's it.
It's you use it or lose it, I'm pretty sure. So
so you are desperately trying to put this ship back in working order, and you've never had to repair a ship under such stress and under such short time as before. So you're trying desperately to put this thing to working order, and as you do, you hear the undeniable sound of the engines shut off, all the lights go off, and the computer shut down. Life support, still on. It's emergency life support, however.
This cockpit's too small to have a spacesuit in it.
Oh yeah. No, this is your only. This is the only thing you've got.
The question is, did it shut off because it failed? Did it shut off because it got an additional system strain? And now I'm rolling against a bigger number.
You can make a mechanics check to see if you can figure out what it would be.
It's like look before I do.
Yeah, I'll give you that, but it's gonna be a difficult one because everything is fucking off.
Yep. All right, fine.
Okay, you may make your mechanics check to see if you can figure out what's going on. 2 successes. Yeah, you can go ahead and make that roll with the. It's not because that it took an additional strain. So
Okay, cool.
It is still gonna be. It's just you bunged it up fucking terribly.
Cool.
So
All right. At this point in time, I had an idea and it was super important to me. But at this point in time, I'm gonna have to use because like I might just
curious
not
what your
skip
idea
on it.
was.
Well, we'll get there shortly, won't we? All right, I'm gonna use my light side point. I'm gonna upgrade my die, and I'm gonna make my check. If you want to reset, what is it? 2 purple. Is the black still there? Or is the black gone now because it's off? Or
The black is gonna be down to 1.
so it's 2 and 1 you're setting. Cool.
Yeah, instead of 2 and 2.
I'm ready.
Because it's off. I'm ready. Go for it. There you go. You got some threat in there.
I mean, since I'm the one rolling, can I take the strain, or does it have to go to the
Yeah,
ship?
go ahead. I'll let you take the strain.
Yeah, because it's like awkward positioning, and it's like I'll jam my finger because I'm cussing.
Yep. No, you're freaking out, but eventually the lights turn back on. Systems are booting
I'm like
back
trying
up.
to wrench something that's like really difficult, and I'm like, oh, if only I had a Wookiee to pull this thing, like all crunched up and using my thighs to like turn the wrench.
And you're able to get the systems all back online, though still blinking a little flickery. The ship is back up and working after probably 30. We'll say like a good 10 minutes in space, just like on and off, things flickering. But you hear the whining of the engines kind of kick back in. And you feel the thrust all of a sudden hit as you get back into the pilot seat and are able to pilot this thing again.
I was like, fresh air is being filtered in.
Yeah, more like fresh air.
I'm like, I will check the navigation, see how long it's going to take me to get to the planet. I'm going to kind of like look at more or less an internal clock that I would have like set inside the ship to be like, how long from when I left Nar Shaddaa, even though I smell right now, to how long time has passed? Like, am I ahead of schedule? Am I behind schedule? Because like I was cutting time lifting right before.
You're still within schedule by a couple of days. You're still good.
Cool. So I'm like, all right, I just
and you are just like an hour. Like a hyper jump right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I get that. Actually, you say within our hyper jump, there are rules for sub-light
travel.
Yeah. It's
Are you trying to tell me you don't want to check to make sure the hyperdrive is operational?
No.
Are you sure?
No. I'll do it if I have to, but hold on. It was the one that Plex and Mem told me about beforehand. 2 something. The 200s, I think. That helps me so much. Sublight speeds. You want to like look it up really quickly on the while I'm doing this on
I'll
your
Google it.
index?
Sublight speeds, right?
Yeah. The same page you told me before. It's just too much chat. Oh, 241. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It was too much chat for me to like just quickly scroll up. So for that was not it. Nope, that is the chase. I think it actually has to do with the astrogation one. But I think it's not that one. So astrogation is page.
Astrogation was like 1 something.
Yeah, hold on, I'm getting there. I'm there now. That's straight astrogation.
Sublight travel is page 246.
246. Okay, so there's a couple after what you said. Okay, here we go. Time needs to fly from a planet to orbit to a hyperspace is 5 to 15. Fly from planet's surface to one of its moons is 90 minutes. Fly from one planet to another within the same system is like 12 hours. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. So I will do the half day of flying, and because like you can more or less autopilot these sorts of things, I'm going to grab that last bottle of water that I've had. And I'm trying to take like a horse bath sort of a thing, and try to like clean myself like a little on the neck, and maybe I won't smell too bad, like. Whew.
Vent
Do,
the air, refill it.
Do you want to do a systems check on the ship itself to make sure everything's in good working order?
I sure. Kind of like as I'm approaching, because I'm gonna do something a little funny. As I'm getting like around where its moons are, I'll do the check before that.
Okay.
What am I rolling?
You are just going to be rolling a normal difficulty check on mechanics.
Okay. Whatever. Or is it or computers?
Yeah,
Same check for me either way.
Yeah, that doesn't. Your choice.
Should have did computers 2 checks, I will, but that's fine. All right, I'm ready. Go. Same for me either way.
What the hell? Man, you got a triumph, but it was negated by all that failure.
I mean, no, not necessarily, because like even though I fail to do a proper systems check, I discover something else amazing.
All right, I know. Here's what's gonna happen.
Do you want me to describe to you what I'm trying to do?
Go for it.
Okay. So the whole plan is I need to get this in under their radars without them having any clue that I'm showing up. So the idea was wherever the destination I was trying to go in, I wanted to actually come at an angle that they wouldn't have expected. So instead of like flying straight into the system to the easiest way to get to them and then fly straight down, I actually wanted to come from a different angle of the solar system, come from the far side of the planet and make my way over, sticking low to cover and whatnot. Along the actual planet's surface, which is planetary piloting tricks as well. I wanted to flip on my scanners at like the precise moment where I think it's going to last long enough and affect their scanners. More or less try to play everything to the fact that they don't know I'm there until they hear me screaming into their base.
Okay.
Like that's the whole plan.
So here's what happens after doing a quick check on your system. As you're flying through sublight speed and coming up on Tatooine itself, you decide to make sure everything's working order. First and foremost, as far as you can tell, according to the systems, everything's broken, which makes no sense because you're flying the damn ship. But everything's coming up as busted, broken, or harmed in some way. However, as you're going through the systems in your area, checking things and going through everything and making sure every system's working, there's actually something that catches your eye. There's like a little line of code that shouldn't belong there. And you've piloted tons of different ships, and that little something that jumps out at you doesn't make any sense. So you go and check it out. You're going through the line of code, and you're like, what the hell is this? Why this doesn't belong here? And it's buried so deep into the ship's systems that it was super easy to pass over unless you were really looking for it. However, you rolled a triumph. And as you kind of explore a little bit more, you realize that there's a tracking device embedded within your TIE fighter. A tracking device that was implanted there that did not belong there in any way, and as far as you can tell, it's somewhere within the hyperdrive system itself is a tracking device. And every time you were jumping out of hyperdrive, that thing was pinging your location. Every single time you popped out of hyperspace.
Fuck. Plan change. Okay, so everything seems like I'm doing a systems check and everything's broken.
Yeah.
But yet it's still functioning. So I'm like, I'm not going to do any more systems checks. Clearly, my system checking system is broken. So I come to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use an advantage
Okay.
to give myself a blue die, because I think that's all I can do with the 3, right?
Uh-huh.
Ignore penalties, da-da-da. I'm going to give myself a blue die. I'm going to do an astrogation check, and I'm going to jump, because I'm still within a few days of safety.
Mm-hmm.
I want to jump to whatever system's nearby that's only like maybe a day out
Okay.
from where I am.
Plot
Like,
something. I'm just going to turn off my apartment heat real quick. And
Yeah. But as I'm doing that, just so you know, just to clear it up, I'm going as though like Tatooine wasn't my destination. Going through Tatooine to the next one past. Like this
Okay.
was a stop off.
I got what you're saying. 1 second.
Okay. Yep. Oh god. So funny thing in Star Wars, one of the important tactics that you can use. This is Star Wars that we had discussed beforehand.
Okay.
An intelligent astrogator. One of the things that they'll do is to make sure that you're not getting tracked going somewhere. Is you'll go like the opposite direction of where you want to go, and then turn and go the direction you want to, or like kind of skip around a few times before you go the direction you want to, because it throws people off your trail. We discussed this, I think, last January or February when we were playing the game before. So my character kind of like taking that notes from his own history. He's like, I'm going to throw them off. But I still have a time frame that I have to stick in. So I'm going to do a soft throw instead of like a Hail Mary.
I love you, Scott. Make your roll because I'm excited to see what happens.
I'm not. Do you have the appropriate only one?
dice
Yeah,
up?
you're only at a 1. Sure.
Well, it's astrogation. That's
Yeah,
normal.
good. You delete system 32. Cool.
I do it super fast.
You astrogate, not a problem. As you're plugging everything in and you're ready to jump into
Travel
hyperspace.
time.
Right. So you push the button to go into hyperspace, push the computer behind, and you wait for the stars to start streaking. And you're looking, and you're like, wait, the stars aren't streaking. See, when you rolled your failures, you didn't take an additional point of damage to your ship. You took an additional point of damage to your hyperdrive. That's why it was no problem to turn the ship back on, because the ship wasn't extra damaged. The hyperdrive, however, may or may not be fucked. So you're sitting there and you're like, we're good, let's go! Damn it! And you do not have enough fuel to go too much further than Tatooine.
I know, I get that. How far do I have to be to open up comms with the huts?
Not far. You could do that easy. Maybe an hour.
Okay, I want to get within range so that I can open up comms with the huts.
Okay.
Or whoever it is that's their communications person.
Yep, no problem. You get within communications range of the nearest starport, more or less.
I will open communications and so yeah, I just like hail to them.
Yep. Answer the human answers. Name designation.
Actually, I'm here on business.
What's happening?
I'm here on business for Zalt's Nug from Nar Shaddaa, and I'm actually making a delivery for which hut is in charge here? Can I roll that, or would I have been told what was?
Tatooine is ruled by Jabba the Hutt.
Okay, so
no, he's dead. So, he's dead. I forgot he's dead. He died not too long ago. Oh shit. We'll give him.
What happens when you hire, a shitty bounty hunter to do your job? You get caught in a Snarlack pit.
Garoba the Hutt currently rules.
Sure. So I'm like, here at official business for Zalt's Nug back in Nar Shaddaa. I have a delivery for Garoba the Hutt.
One moment, and the comms get turned off, and some time passes, and eventually the comms blink. I'm assuming you turn them back on. You'll be landing in the starport of Mos Eisley. This is your landing pad. Security clearance is clear. We'll see you soon.
Do you work for Garoba the Hutt?
Comms go off.
I'm gonna try to reopen communications.
Name and designation.
Does the voice sound familiar?
No, it's a different voice this time.
I have a really important message for Garoba the Hutt before I land in the appropriate landing pad that was given to me. Can you get me in contact with somebody who is of the appropriate peoples to talk to Garoba the Hutt? Because...
Do you have a job with Garoba the Hutt?
Official business for Zalt's Nug of Nar Shaddaa.
1 second, and it gets turned off. You get put on wait for like 5-10 minutes. Here's your landing pad. Somebody will be there to discuss whatever matters you are with you when you land.
Yeah, I'm not going to land until I speak to somebody.
Comms go off.
Okay.
Do you just?
I'm gonna contact, fly to try to contact somebody over at that landing pad.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You fly.
I'm not gonna go even in orbit. Yeah. Or at least stay as far away with whatever the rules are.
You get near the star thing, and I'm assuming you hail that specifically, and they flip the comms eventually flip on. Name and designation.
Yeah, before we get into that, I am here on official business for Zalt's Nug on behalf of Garoba the Hutt.
1 minute, please. Yeah, you've been assigned a pad already, and then they ran off the pad that they told you could land on.
I'm going to interrupt them before they can even finish and be like, yeah, and somebody's supposed to be there to speak with me when I land. I need to speak with them before I land.
1 minute goes off. Time goes by. Time goes back on. Yeah, I've been denied that particular clearance. That person will be waiting for you when you land.
Awesome, I have a bomb.
comm goes off. So what's the plan here, Scott, with the bomb threat? What are you hoping for?
I don't want to land with a tracking device telling everybody where it is that I'm landing. That would be, I'd be like, hey, by the way, I brought like the Empire to your doorstep. Hope you don't mind.
Oh my god. All right. No problem. You threaten a bomb.
So I'm going to reopen communications, and as I start to say like name and designation, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm the guy that threatened the bomb.
So you want to open communications again?
Yep.
All right. So it takes a minute for them to answer, actually, and eventually the answer is like, you'll hold your place in space. Security will be out there to escort you or shoot you down should you resist. After we get a scan of your ship and to ensure that there are no explosive devices anywhere within inside of it.
Sounds great. Let's do that far away from where I'm landing.
Well, we'll scan you in space. Don't worry.
Great. Sounds amazing.
Time eventually goes by, and
one of those like I throw something.
yeah, but you can't go far. It bounces back at you because it's such a close. Yeah. Eventually, 2 fire sprays come out. They fly around you. They give you a scan. Your comms go off, and then it's like, this is the fire spray. Blah blah blah. Gives you the number 5013. You'll be escorted down to this planet with us.
Yeah, no. Let's talk about escorting down. Listen, I'm here on official business for somebody, but the person that was delivering something to you didn't realize that there was a tracking device put onto the ship. If I land onto that planet with the tracking device on this ship, you know what's going to happen? The people that put the tracking device on the ship is going to know where it went, and I don't want to bring that kind of trouble to a Hutt's doorstep. That's how you get in trouble with the Hutts. You know what I'm saying? So why don't we like come up with a resolution that doesn't bring people to the Hutt's doorstep?
Comms go off. Time passes.
I'm like, fuck, I'm going to be stuck here. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm going to be stuck here sitting like this. Going to be like, well, if he tries to land, we're going to blow him up, but he has no fuel to fly away. So I'm like, I try to do the right thing. Oh God, why did I try to do the right thing? Why did I do this? I'm trying to help out a Hutt. Would a Hutt do that for me? Of course they wouldn't. But if a Hutt found out I didn't try to do that for them, they'd kill me. But you try to let them know that you do that for them, and they kill you. God, this is awful. Why did I even have to snoop? I at least could have had plausible deniability by not knowing. This is. Oh my God, and I can't even get angry because I don't know it. The ship is getting so warm right now. I am so uncomfortable. Oh God, I am so thirsty. Pick up like a bottle. Not drinking that. Put it back down.
Scott, make a perception check. I'm sorry this is going a little longer, guys. Bear with me.
I don't mind.
As long as you're having fun.
I have to get up early too. I don't mind.
Oh, we've got to wrap this up then.
Wait, hold on. No, it's fine. I'll get rid of the upgrade. Perception.
Yeah. You're arguing with yourself. You have no idea what's going on. You're too busy shouting at yourself, and you're fucking pissed. And I just imagine Kyle's like throwing shade. He's like, I'm trying to be a fucking good guy. No. Just shout. Eventually, what ends up happening is, Scott, I want to ask you, but I'm afraid to ask you because then it's going to spoil what's about to happen to you. Where is it considered? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. We're going to go ahead and do this, and we're going to go ahead and do that because you're not paying attention. You're not trying to outpilot them in any way.
I'm sitting here, I'm still talking about myself. I don't ask questions. I don't do that. I never ask questions. I just do the job. But here I am in a shitty piece of shit, and I had to go.
All of a sudden, you hear
asking questions of the ship.
If you would, all of a sudden, you hear pew 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 as lasers fire off from behind you and hit. One of them misses, and lasers go whipping by. As you didn't pay attention, the fire sprays had fallen back into a combat position, and one goes whipping by and misses you completely. The other one blasts your engines, and you start careening down into Tatooine.
Oh, lovely! Oh God, these things aren't meant to float.
So you're sitting there throwing shit around, super pissed off. The fire sprays kind of put on the brakes. They fall behind you. They fire a couple of shots at you. One misses, the other one hits, and you hear the scream of the TIE fighter as it spirals down towards Tatooine. Smoke and fire billowing out the back as Kyle is... What is he doing as he's spiraling down towards Tatooine?
Children, please cover your ears. No, honestly, he's a really good pilot, and so I imagine do I have to roll to keep my cool, or do I just keep my cool because I'm like, this is what I do?
I'm going to leave that completely up to your character and what you believe his history to be.
Oh, like my like if somebody was watching me, I wouldn't look like I keep my cool, but I'm totally like I'm a leaf in the wind right now. Mind you, last time I heard that quote, it didn't well.
True enough.
So,
but you can pilot incredibly well.
I'm a leaf on the wind. I'm a leaf on the wind. I'm a leaf on the wind. All right, I'm gonna try to. Is that pilot planetary to not die?
Yeah, we're gonna go pilot. We're gonna have to do pilot space first while you're entering atmosphere, and then and then piloting planetary. The piloting as you're entering the atmosphere and stuff is gonna be a bit more difficult.
You're throwing red dice at me, aren't you?
Not yet. I'm not. Don't worry.
You're not. Come on.
When we get to the actually,
when my skill's weaker.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Let's do it like that. Okay. And I'm actually gonna bump it up by using my dark side point to do so. Just to make it fair, as you are now screaming towards the surface of Tatooine at a speed you'd rather not be doing. Fire away. Roll.
Okay.
Hey, you did great. I forgot you rolled 3 yellows, actually.
Yeah.
That's great.
For this skill, not the next one.
That's fine. Well, you do have a light side point you can use. So you break atmosphere as the heat really builds up, and it's almost like the heat shield is non-existent on the TIE fighter anymore as you break into atmosphere. But as you break through the atmosphere and the wind and stuff starts hitting, there's cracks starting to crack across your TIE fighter.
I don't think TIE fighters have heat shields because they don't usually go in orbit, right? They usually get
dropped. They can fly planetary.
Do they?
Yeah.
I thought they get like dropped in orbit.
Usually they do get dropped, but if you remember Force Awakens, I believe, didn't they fly from space and crash land on a planet?
Finn crashing and landing.
Yeah. I'm saying they crash landed. They can do it. It's just not. They're not meant to do it.
Yeah.
And so the screen, the glass windows in front of you start spiraling and cracking as you enter in the winds. As a TIE fighter's still spinning on fire, though some semblance of control as Kyle is screaming, hitting a planet. Now you're gonna have to make a roll planetary. Let's go ahead and do 1 and 1 there.
Okay. Did you get rid of your upgrade?
I got rid of 1 purple. You're rolling against 1 purple, 1 red on this.
Okay, just making sure you don't have the upgrade button clicked.
Nope.
Okay. All right, here we go. I'm gonna roll my planetary check.
There you go. So you are, as you break atmosphere and the clouds disperse and the sandstorm that you were probably flying through kicks through and you're able to see the ground before you, you are a good distance away from any of the cities, or at least any inhabited cities. The scream of the TIE fighter as you're tumbling and spinning through the air kind of sputters on and off. It's like, and then eventually goes dead silent, and the only noise you can hear is the sand and the wind rushing past the now cracking screen of the TIE fighter as you completely brace for impact to land onto the middle of a desert in Tatooine. The TIE fighter comes hundreds of feet, tens of feet, dozens of feet, a few feet, and the screen goes black, and we'll leave it there.
Hey, as long as my jammer survives, I got Maggie a present, and that's what matters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's very, very true. You were able to survive.
Are we gonna have to do like another session tomorrow just to finish the prequel? This is like a real Star Wars movie where it's like, why is this movie like? We're gonna prequel the trilogy with 9 hours. Y'all ready for this? Like,
actually, I have a way of just picking it up where you'll be found and whatnot. But if we want to, we could always finish it up and see how you get to a city. But
God damn it!
I was waiting, like, so that's the end of the prequel. By the way, hope that was enjoyable for people. It's been like a year since we played this system, so if I fucked up and made it unenjoyable, I apologize.
So somebody was saying jam the beacon. Honestly, if that could have worked, that would have been brilliant. Because my plan was to jam the beacon. But I don't know if that would have worked.
I don't think it would have been strong enough.
because I'm actually going to read what the item says, because I don't know if that would work for like a beacon of that power.
But even so, you didn't know that it was there. It was too like you didn't turn it
No,
on.
but then I did. So
yeah, after you were already in the system.
Why did I click on the jammer while doing other things?
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think that would have worked, but if it does, I mean, that's good. Anyway, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was fun. It was a hardcore refresher for all of us. But that was the reason I was having you like do a lot of mechanics checks and stuff, because there was always that opportunity that you were gonna find that tracking device buried. Now the question is, where did the tracking device come from? Of course, who put it there? All questions that you'll hopefully get answers to one day. But that's why I didn't want to do the bounty thing right away.
So my character would have assumed, because again, when it comes to deals, he's a little naive, and so has a relationship with this guy. So it's kind of like, oh, this guy, he wouldn't put a tracking device or something he's selling to them. What's the benefit of that? Like, clearly, it's the that's how they found their old TIE fighters before.
Yeah.
So to answer the question about the tracking, I'm right about there. It says comm scrambler or jammer. Which one did I buy? Which is the expensive one? Jammer. That was the expensive one, because of the one we're going to get from Maggie. Where there are people wishing to communicate, there are people wishing to prevent it, and thus there are jammers. Small versions can shut out local signals, while others are so powerful they can cut off entire planets from the rest of the galaxy. The Meridian Hail is one of the former, relatively portable device. They can blanket standard comm frequencies over the frequency of a quarter-kilometer radius, or focus on a single target up to 3 kilometers away. Cutting through the noise to create a comm jammer is a computer's check with a difficulty proportional to the distance of the jammer, blah, blah, blah. So it's like one of those, the fact that it says it's powerful because it's like right there, okay, cool. However, it does say it is a blanket it can blanket standard comlink frequencies. This is not a standard comlink frequency. That's like DM magic. Well, it doesn't work. So,
hey man, tracking through hyperspace now exists in the canon of Star Wars.
Yeah, well, that has existed for a long time.
Not specifically through hyperspace until recently. That was new.
Because that, again, a year ago was the whole doof, 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 before you go the direction you want to. You always jump around to throw off tracking.
Yep. Well, if we want to, we could do more tomorrow. We'll see. I don't know how much more there's to do other than like survival in the desert time kind of thing. For how far away you are from anywhere like that you can get. But if we don't, I know where we'll start off. But I didn't expect to end it with you crashing onto Tatooine. That was not in the plans.
Well, it's funny because theoretically my character could just be hiding on Tatooine until it's.
It's true. It was just one of those things where you bomb threatened, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
It would actually an evolution of because I think you said this is 10 years out, and originally wanted the campaign to be 15 years out.
Yeah, they could be about 5 years.
My character was stranded, not hired as a pilot on Tatooine for 5 years. That could be funny because if like the crew hires me as like, this is my first time piloting in space in 5 years. Like you can imagine like the itch.
Yeah,
like,
it's been a while.
Like I've been doing jobs on Tatooine, but I haven't been able to be hired out because like the fact that I brought whatever combat that is here, but I was honest with them. It's like the hut won't kill me, but now I have to be a servant to the hut for a while, and that's why like
there could be some really fun like 5 years later. How did you live your life?
Was that a movie? 5 Years of Slave? Nope, 12.
No. Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's something like that. But...
So I won't get any nominations. But the that would be a really nifty thing if they end up picking me up in Tatooine and I haven't flown in 5 years. I don't know what your plan is. So
no worries. I didn't expect to shoot you down. It was one of those situations where I was like, okay, you threatened a bomb. You told them about a tracker. They don't really know who you are. Do they just want to? They could escort you down and deal with you, or they can just blow you up and not have to deal with you.
I'm really terrible at negotiations.
Yeah. Oh, no, the minute you threw the bomb threat out there, I was like, oh, okay, this is how it's going to go. All right, that's fine. I was just putting you through a lot of bureaucratic shit because it's fun. But I didn't realize Kyle was going to lose it.
So my biggest complaint about the system is that you can't reduce stats. Like as a human, you have to have presence of 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would totally increase my cunning and reduce my presence so I don't make decisions like that. But I just come off as a bit more meek or whatever. But again, it's like you can't do those things, which is a little annoying. So Mike and I talked about alternate rules that allow it, but we're going canon. Or so not canon.
Yeah, just for the sake of it for now.
Yeah. we're not altering rules to be able to allow that stuff to happen. So
Cool.
anyways, it was good.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with something, hopefully a character gen stream. That's the goal. But I'll let you know if I can get a hold of any
You're
of them.
replacing my character.
Yeah, Scott's making a new character. I hated the pilot, so I killed him. Did you have a light side point at the end or no? Yeah, we could say the light side point's what kept you alive.
I did have a light side
Yep.
point. I didn't use it, so.
Nope. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. If you were caught midway through or the end, VODs are now going to be uploaded to a different YouTube channel. They're starting with this episode. Everything's going to be over by to a Lost Initiative specific channel. I believe it's youtube.com. There'll be a link because it's not going to be the usual. You're charming. Yeah, quite charming.
Don't kill me. It works. I'm a slave with the threat.
Exactly.
Hey!
And then we'll get up on the new YouTube channel. If you're a sub, you can just go watch the VOD immediately after this. It's free for you guys to go do so. We'll be back tomorrow night with something. What that is, we'll figure that out. It could be another one of these. It could be a character gen for one of the other 2 characters that still need to be done. We'll figure it out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. I can't wait. I have to actually click buttons here.